Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Monday Weekend Wrap-Up, episode 49. Nketiah is calling. This week on the program, Arsenal versus Manchester United, Chelsea versus Liverpool, Barcelona extend their lead just shortly. First up, we have Cultured Left Foot joining us. Cultured, welcome in.
Hello.
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Good. We also have Milo the First, Mr. Eddie Nketiah himself.
Good evening.
How you doing, man?
Not too bad.
Doing good. And filling in for Hoff tonight is Mr. Mykal87. How you doing, Michael?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you, bud.
Guys, Hoff had a plumbing problem at his house, so he had to drop out at the last second because he was shoveling water out of his house, apparently. Dishwasher problems. Bit of a bummer. But, it is what it is. So we won't be doing Football Manager tonight. A little bit of a bummer. Sorry, guys. But, let's get into the show. Let's start with the big game of the weekend, shall we? Arsenal versus Manchester United. The pundits are calling it a classic. Do you guys feel like it was a throwback classic?
No.
I don't feel
think
that
it was
either.
I think it's more of a throwback than we've had of anything else in recent years. But it wasn't a complete throwback to like the late 90s and early noughties. It was the most we've had of a throwback recently. But
I think the media want to milk it and play it up as much as they can in every aspect, and despite their best efforts, I don't think it was anything like the animosity and the rivalry that we had 20 years ago. It just isn't there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was no Vieira v Keane, right? So
no.
Yeah.
Or Keown v Van Nistelrooy and all those things. But I don't think that exists in football anywhere. I don't think Liverpool Everton's like that. Other than maybe Rangers Celtic and Boca River. I don't think in the Premier League.
I think the North London derby is pretty spicy, to be honest.
Really? Not like it used to be.
I think
for the players on the pitch.
I think it's more now because Tottenham are a better team than they ever were.
Yeah.
The thing is I think that's the thing. United are nowhere near what they used to be, so it doesn't feel like that yet. But I feel like in the next year, this could be a really good game. I think it has the potential to be a classic.
I think this one was a really good game.
This one was a good game. But I wouldn't call it a classic. I mean, what was it when we played 8 defenders against you guys and we won? Or something. Like that's a classic for some reason. It's not like.
Let me ask you this: had you won this game, would you not be agreeing with them that it's a classic?
But that's the thing. It would have been if United was the big underdog, at least,
Oh, fuck. No, they weren't.
Massive underdogs.
Both teams coming into the game on almost identical form. There was no underdog in this game.
Well, no. United were we were going to the Emirates with no pressure to win. We were I don't think there was pressure on either side to actually win, but I think Arsenal were expected to win more than United.
I'm very aware I'm in this stream with 2 United fans, so
come on.
Even neutrally. Okay, Michael, what do you think from a expectation point of view?
I think the expected scoreline was a draw. I think in terms of like if you want to look at betting odds, I think it was bet as an even draw. But as a neutral, I expected Arsenal to win this one, to be honest. So I don't know if I'm going against you there, Milo. I'm sorry, but
that's okay. I just don't think there was I look at form, and United's form was almost identical to Arsenal's. So
to your point of form, though, I was looking at this was if United just came off of beating City. Granted, it was at home, but now they go on the road to Arsenal. For me, is this a stamp that Arsenal is that much better than both City and United? This Is this their final stamp that we're here? This is it?
I don't think it works like that anymore, and I think it's more a game to game thing, because if the Premier League's shown us anything, it's that anyone can beat anyone on their day.
Yeah. Well, let's go through the game. Started off with a beautiful goal from Marcus Rashford. Partey gives the ball away. Rashford picks it up, plays a quick 1-2, and bang! Beast Ramsdale at the front post. Just probably the biggest display of quality in the game, probably, I'd say. What do you think, Milo?
I mean, I think you're absolutely milking that description, but whatever, that's fine.
No, come on, that was a great goal.
It's a great goal. It's a great goal, yeah.
But, good work rate to intercept it. Good bit of skill to get around Partey. An unbelievable hit from that range. Like, I think it's similar to Saka's goal. I think Saka's goal was an unbelievable hit from that range. But
yeah, it's a great goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can say Cart's milking it. I think it probably was.
No, just the whole part of the loses the ball, yada yada yada. Like, he's just milking that whole part of it.
Okay. Yeah.
But presentation was milked. I'm sorry.
The reason I mention it is because I do have something written about Saka. Saka is the third Arsenal player to score in 3 consecutive Premier League appearances versus United. Can you name the other 2?
Thierry Henry and Freddie Ljungberg.
That is correct.
There you go, straight off the bat.
That is correct. Let's just, Milo, general thoughts about the game. What are your general feelings about the game?
My general feelings about the game are that it was a massive result. I think, again, like you guys say, we're never the underdog, but I just think it's hilarious. People still doubting this team, and test after test comes up and they pass it. So when will
surely
people?
We're not,
when
surely
will
we're not doubting it, because we're saying that we're expecting Arsenal to win. That's what both of the Man United fans.
You're the only. I'm pretty sure I said Arsenal are going to win the title before you said Arsenal are going to win.
I mean, you guys just cut me completely off, like I'm mid-sentence. So, I mean, I'm happy to elaborate if you want.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, like I say, lots of people, I never said you two, but you took it that way. That's fine. Lots of people still do not see Arsenal as the real deal. It's a fluke, yada, yada, yada. I read it every day, man. I read it every day. I hear it every day. So I'm just pleased that they can continue to answer the questions. And I thought it was a really good win. Really important to get that winning goal as well. Keep the pressure on at the top of the table and just go on to the next game. I thought it was really good. Good performance. Everybody played well. I thought Saka was outstanding. I thought Zinchenko was everywhere. He probably would get my shout for player of the game. He had a couple of giveaways in the second half, but I thought, he was just all over the pitch. So I was very, very happy with the way the team played. That's it. Just 3 points. On to the next, man.
I actually saw a meme about Zinchenko while you're mentioning for that his giveaways towards the end was just because he was bored, so he wanted something to do. Because he had Anthony in his pocket all game, so he wanted to just give him the ball so he had something to do. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Cultured, what are your thoughts from a United perspective?
It's very similar. I had a very similar aspect or thought process going into the Man City game, which was, I don't think the result ultimately matters as long as we show we can be competitive against people at that end of the Premier League, right at the top. And I've always said I didn't expect us to get 4th place this year, looking at how the squad was when Ten Hag inherited it. The signings he's made has been really good. I think they've settled in really well. And anything, if we got top 4, anything above that is a massive bonus right now. And that's the same attitude I had going into this game. I was like, if we come away with the draw, I'm going to be absolutely delighted. If we win, I'm going to be ecstatic. If we lose, as long as we're competitive and we have a game plan and it works and we at least threaten Arsenal's goal, then I'm happy. And I think that's what we did. I think Arsenal deserved to win the game. I think they did deserve to win the game on the balance of play. But the fact that we were linking up and we were playing, yes, it was counter-attacking football, but I do think we were going into that as a bit of the underdogs, especially missing Casemiro, who is crucial to allowing our team to play further up the pitch. I think that's a big difference. But I think the overall game, I was happy. We lost, and it was a kick in the teeth way to lose, right? 90th minute goal, but we've done that to loads of teams in the past, and it will happen in football all the time like that. But it was coming. The Arsenal's winning goal was coming. We couldn't handle the pressure. We didn't have the depth to make the subs. I think we could have done, but I'm not upset losing 3-2 to a team top of the league, 5 points clear, who are playing very good football. I think it was a fair game. I think the result was fair, and I think we did really well. I was impressed with, especially in the second half, Weghorst's link-up play. Some of the flicks he did round the corner to bring in Rashford on the left and Bruno Fernandes through midfield. I think this is the problem, is that now what's being exposed is when we miss. It's sort of like Liverpool, I think, in the sense that when they lost Van Dijk for a couple of games, the whole thing sort of started to fall apart. Or when they lose Salah for a couple of games, or that sort of thing. We lost Casemiro for one game, which is arguably our biggest of the season after beating Man City. And it really showed how the deficit we have in our squad in such a crucial position. But overall, I think, to answer your question, I think I was happy. We lost, but I'm happy with that sort of performance. So,
yeah, okay, yeah, I think, yeah, I'd agree with you that at this stage of the process, right? Arteta's 3 years into his process with Arsenal,
2.5. Yeah,
about 2.5. Yeah, about 2.5.
2.5. Okay, wait, I thought he took over in December, right, or something. He took over in the summer.
I wouldn't give him that first 6 months because he couldn't do anything.
I wouldn't either.
Okay,
I think you say a 10-year starts of a first transfer window, right?
Then let's take away that FA Cup title. So Arteta has no title. Right? No. Okay,
club still has it, so it's fine.
It's a 3. He's had 3 years at Arsenal. Okay, let's just be honest about that. It's not 2.5. Is it 2.5 seasons or is it 3 years? I don't know.
Who cares?
Well, you corrected me.
Yeah, but who cares?
What do you mean? 3 years is a long time. That's all I'm saying. That's my point. My point is 3 years is a long time.
How many transfer windows do you think it takes to filter out the players that you had no hand in and that don't fit your plans? And then how many realistically do you think that takes for a club that doesn't have oil money? How many transfer windows do you think that should take?
2.
2 windows.
Yeah.
I think 4 is more realistic.
Yeah, I would say 4. So 2 seasons, 4 windows.
Yeah,
which is what I think.
Oh, windows. Sorry, I was thinking seasons. Yeah, 2 seasons.
Yeah. So 4 windows, and then the young players that we've got in the squad. I mean, I think Arteta is right now exactly where he should be, if not a year ahead, in my opinion.
Exactly, and that's all I was saying. Arteta's been in the job for 3 years. They're coming against a United team that's had a new manager for about 6 months. I think the way we played, is there something wrong with what I'm saying there?
I'm just yeah, it's fine. You carry on.
I'm just saying, like, that's what these are the facts, and we play a certain style of football for how long we've been playing. I'm curious to see how we strengthen in the summer. I don't know how much money we have. Maybe we could sign some of those Chelsea-style contracts. And I'm sure we're only going to get better from here.
I want to know from you, from both sides of the story here, how much of a different game it is if Casemiro's on the field, do you think?
Pretty big.
Pretty big.
I mean, I disagree. I think we still would have won the game.
I think you might have done, but the first
with
thing
a lucky last-minute flick.
A lucky last-minute flick.
It wasn't lucky, but yeah,
it wasn't lucky. We peppered the net. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so had 25 shots all day.
How does
it? This is like I don't want to turn this into an Arsenal versus Man United argument. Like, it's just pointless, dude. The game is over. We won. I'm not milking it. I'm not being
the match.
What's that?
We're here to talk about the match.
Yeah, but you're just trying to cause some sort of combativeness about it.
No, the question is, how do we win if Casemiro won, or if Casemiro played?
Well, how different is the match if Casemiro's on the field?
and then you
I
said
think
you would have won still.
He's a big
You
splinter.
barely won.
The
You
first thing
barely
is
beat a Ten Hag team that's been together for 6 months. You barely.
Right, hang on.
There's a lot of salt on Cart's end
Let me get my
tonight,
answer
guys.
out.
There's a lot of
Right.
salt right now on Cart's end about this result. It's pretty clear. So
No.
that's fine.
No. Listen.
You lost
Go
the
back-
game 3-2, and now it's time for you to move on and look at your next game. That's
Well,
it.
But
Well, I
so
think
should we
we-
stop the show then? Do we
can
stop
discuss
the
it.
show?
No, but you're
Can we talk about the results?
you want to talk about how we barely beat a team, and it's all about the manager being there for 6 months. That means who cares how long he's been there, dude? Who
that
cares?
matters.
It really doesn't.
What do you mean it doesn't?
It doesn't. He's
Did
saying
you
that
see the way Arsenal was playing?
he's setting that team up to play how he wants them to play with the players that he has. He's doing his job as a manager.
Right.
That's it. That's it. And you lost the game. Time to move on.
We did lose the game, but the question was how different would the game have been?
One sloppy pass that led to a great Rashford goal, and then an absolute bundled in corner goal.
And the question was, how different would the game have been if Casemiro had played? Not would we have, you know what I mean? Like it's
The only difference for you
can
is
we talk about a hypothetical, or are we not allowed to talk about hypothetical? We have to talk about the next game only.
I mean, we can talk about hypothetical all you want, but I just don't think it would have changed the thing. For you, it would have been him trying to stifle Saka instead of Eriksen, right? That's what you're going to talk about?
Nah, it's much bigger than that. I think
He's a miles ahead of McTominay, is he not?
Yeah, I
Do we not
came in at
agree on
half
that?
time when you're watch along, and the first thing I said is that why is McTominay playing so high and leaving Eriksen to defend?
Yeah.
Like that's just not what McTominay should be doing in that squad. I
Those
think
are the
it brings a
reverse.
whole different. Whether we win or lose, I don't think it like you can't know if playing Casemiro means the result's different. You may have lost 6-2. More of your shots might have gone in, but it's like I think missing Casemiro in a game like that is crucial when it felt like Eriksen was being asked to do much more defensive work than he's ever done next to Casemiro because McTominay was playing more as a box-to-box and pushing up, which Casemiro doesn't really do. He sits and controls and sweeps up and then sprays passes. So hypothetically, could it have made a difference? Yes. Do we know? No, we'll never know. But I do think it would have been... Arsenal might still have won. I don't think you would have had as much freedom in our half. And whether that results in a different end game, who knows? But I don't think you would have had as much freedom.
And we're talking about both teams had this. United weren't underdogs. Arsenal weren't favorites. They had the same results coming into this game. Yeah, with Casemiro in the team, he's a massive part of the team.
If you have a problem with that, you should probably talk to Casemiro, who got himself a yellow card against Palace. Because it's got nothing to do with me. It's got nothing to do with me or with Arsenal that Casemiro didn't play in that fucking game.
You're saying it would have no different. It would make no difference.
What are you talking about? It's such a pointless conversation.
What do you mean?
Such a pointless conversation. Like he didn't play. He was suspended. So you played with what you had. That happens to teams all the time.
Well, to be fair, I guess we could ask the opposite question. What if Arsenal had Gabriel Jesus? I mean, there's the hypothetical you could throw back in their face as well.
I mean, potentially.
If I'm playing mediator.
But I don't need to because Eddie came in and scored a player that no one gives any credit to. A player came in and scored 2 goals against mighty Ten Hag's team. There you go. This is the kind of stuff you're saying, Cart. Like trying to write up. So I'll go back at you with the same style. The mighty Ten Hag's team conceded 2 goals to lowly Eddie and Nketiah. Oh.
Well, here, I will say this though. We did play midweek against a physical Crystal Palace
Who
team.
fucking who?
I'm
Happens
just saying.
all the time.
We played the exact
professional
same team, and the only change was
Who?
Casemiro. The only change was Casemiro. And
Whose fault
also,
is that?
and we lost
Casemiro's.
in the last minute in that game, so it's like double this week.
Whose
It's a
fault
double
is
punch.
that? It's Casemiro's fault.
No,
Thank you.
it's a testament to the stage we are in the process. Like you're saying, oh, it doesn't matter. 3 years into the process, it doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. It does matter. We don't have a squad. All we had was youngsters on the bench. Garnacho, Pelestri, Ilanga. Those are our attacking options. Like, I mean, I don't know where this.
Our bench isn't that deep either, so that's
But
fine.
you guys at least have a cohesive way.
We were able to
playing.
bring on Trossard, who, by the way, I thought had a pretty cool cameo. I mean, he came into the team when they were on the offensive anyway, so it's probably a bit
Absolutely.
easier for him to to make a showing, but I actually thought it was a pretty good cameo.
I wrote down Trossard as well, and I think we had talked about it early in the season when I was kind of. I remember clearly saying I'm very excited by this Arsenal team. There's a new energy. A long time ago, Milo. I'm not a hater. You know, I know you are a hater. I know you think I'm a hater, but I'm not a hater.
And I'm well aware.
This Arsenal team since before you.
Oh, you
this season. But yeah, I was talking to you about how are they going to strengthen this team without hindering the confidence of their young attacking players. And this Trossard signing is the perfect, exact type of signing that I would have thought made sense, right? He's 27, 28 years old, I think.
I think it's a far more sensible signing than Mudryk.
Yeah, it is. Mudryk would have, for the right price, would have been an amazing signing too. But,
agreed.
I think Trossard is that perfect type of player who's not going to completely threaten someone's starting place. He's not going to expect a starting place all the time, but is still going to come in and do a very good job for you guys. And he's, has a bit of experience already. He's hungry for some, trophies. And I think this is like the perfect type of signing for you guys.
He's the perfect player to keep everyone in that front three behind the striker on their toes, because he can play left, right, and attack in mid, and he can keep the ball going. I think, Merlo, you mentioned it maybe during half time in the watch along, that it's going to hopefully keep Martinelli on his toes, because he would have thought, it might have been you, Cart, that was like, Mudryk's going to come in. Is that going to make Martinelli feel a bit better? I think Trossard does it for Smith Rowe when he's back from injury, for Saka on the right, for Odegaard. Maybe not Odegaard. I think Odegaard's undroppable, but I feel like, you know what I mean? He gives that versatility and Premier League experience and skillful footballer that allows Arteta to be like, not everyone's position is safe now. Look, we've got Smith Rowe, Trossard, all these players coming back from injuries and new signings. I think it's great.
I've been saying it for weeks that Martinelli needs. I thought he had a great first third of the season. I do think there's an element of comfort that's maybe crept into his game, and I don't know. Obviously, I'm not there on the training ground. All the players speak so highly of him, especially Jesus. He has nothing but amazing things to say about Martinelli, which is great. It's great to hear that. But having Trossard there will help. Smith Rowe's just coming back, obviously, and he can play on that left side. Smith Rowe, obviously, my preferred role would be where Odegaard is, but that ain't going to happen unless Odegaard gets injured. And Martinelli, as we know, can play at a 9. So if Eddie was not feeling it or it's not quite working, you could move Martinelli central and you could bring Trossard on. There's options offensively to a offensive unit that's already playing very, very well. So it's definitely a massive bonus as far as I'm concerned.
That's what I admire most about Arteta as a neutral. What I've watched him grow, that team grow and develop, and the slack that Arsenal got for so long about buying too many youngsters and not having enough experience, and looking what that team's kind of flourished into recently has been amazing as a neutral. And I can see that team that he's built, that almost family that he's built, that you don't really see at a lot of other Premier League clubs right now. Everybody's just kind of rotating in and out, and it's just name here, name there, name here, name there. But I can tell Arteta's actually taken time to look at, this person can play 3 spots here, this person can play 3 spots here, but also the cohesion between the men, not just the players, is incredible. I don't know if there's any other manager that can do that right now, that other than maybe Ancelotti. So I think your guys' success in the Premier League is definitely really stemmed around him right now.
It got me thinking, because I've been watching, not just been watching, but I watched all of the Amazon documentaries, right? The all or nothing ones where it's gone between all the different teams. And I think the point of those documentaries is to give you the insight into the club and how it works. And I think what really came across in that Arsenal one was that the only thing Arteta really got wrong in that whole documentary was when he put the speakers up to try and imitate Anfield, right?
Whereas that was quite a good idea.
Well, I think he admitted that it was a bit
It did
shit.
nothing,
But yeah.
Hey man,
But
why not try
the-
something? Our record at Anfield had been abysmal. He had to try something.
By the way,
to
I'm
stop
giving
the
him
bleeding.
praise here. I'm giving him
Yeah.
praise.
No, that's
and
fine.
the Man
It
City
was
one, I
abysmal.
think-
You're absolutely. No, I'm just kidding.
the Man City thing, I think that came out of the Man City one was that Pep could be far too intense and far too tactical during half times and with his board and getting all the drawings on the board. And then the Tottenham one was basically that there's never a connect between manager and chairman. Like that is what has always come through. All three of those ones I've watched. And I feel like for the Arsenal one, with everything that was going on in that season, Arteta coming in, Edu being there, Aubameyang, all of that. For the only thing to watch that and come away with it and think, all Arteta's done wrong is try and imitate Anfield at a training ground, which, as you say, is you needed to try something different. I don't agree with that sort of thing. I don't think you can ever imitate the stadium. Like, I think it shows how good Arteta is as a man manager and building that squad. And like Mykal said, getting that family unity. I think it's really, really good. And I think it's done a really good job. And I'm hoping that is what happens at United if we get new owners, that there's a field like a flow down of that sort of let's do things correct sort of thing, because that's what it seems like at Arsenal. You know, the hate of the Cronkies is not gone, but it's backed off a little bit. Edu's there and he's being
off, because they have backed Edu's plan in places, right?
Yeah,
they still, I think some central midfield reinforcement would be really good right about now. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get that done. Obviously, we're heavily linked with Declan Rice for the summer. The fear from the fan base, as far as the Cronkies go, is that might be too late. If something happened to Party, for example, in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, that could have a massive impact on, because El Neni just isn't it. He's not giving you that base to build from, and he's also not popping up with a thunder bastard from 30 yards every couple of months. You know what I mean?
In a similar way that McTominay's not Casemiro, just to go back to that point.
But I suppose so. Yeah. There you go. Honey Badger asked in the chat a big question: do we think Arsenal will get over the line? Because if they blow it, it's going to be difficult for them to recover. Now, I still don't think the team's thinking about it that way, but we had some comments from Zinchenko after the game yesterday that have given a bit more insight into the dressing room feeling. So for me, Honey Badger, last year I said I thought Champions League would have been a year too early for that squad, how young they were, and Arteta's still trying to bring in exactly how he wants them to play. You saw flashes of it last year, but they obviously fell apart with the three defeats in the row are what cost them. And with that in mind, I've always said this season, like I'm not, people are saying I'm pessimistic, but I'm not, until we've played City twice and see where we're at. I'm still not, I'm not saying we're going to win the title. And I still think Champions League was the goal this season, right? I think Champions League was the goal this season. I think anything else would be a bonus. Winning the title would be a massive bonus, because I don't think anybody thought that would happen this season. So if it does, I think you have to agree it would be a massive bonus. But Zinchenko, I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday. Zinchenko said when he came in, the dressing room laughed at him when he said, forget top 3, we're going for the title. And he said everybody was laughing, or a lot of players were laughing at him in the dressing room. And then he said, now no one's laughing. So take that for what you will.
It's that first. I think it's the first game against City in the league. If you win that, I think City could become demoralised. If City win it, then it really flips it on its head. I don't think it needs to be two wins for Arsenal in both those games.
No,
if you win that first one, I think,
and it's at home.
Yeah, and
don't you have in the FA Cup too, right?
Yeah.
It's Friday.
Yeah,
Friday FA Cup. Yeah, I think. Yeah, the energy around Arsenal is just palpable. I haven't seen it like this for probably in the entire time I've been watching the Premier League, which isn't super long, but
they responded very well to what happened last year, the collapse, if you want to call it, right? Mm-hmm. That 3-game loss streak was it was Newcastle, Palace, and one other, I forget. Was it West Ham?
I think it was West Ham, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was West Ham. That was obviously demoralizing at the time, and they missed out 4th by 1 point. So, I think they probably, and like I said, I'm pretty sure the feeling was they weren't quite ready for Champions League. Maybe they wouldn't be ready for Champions League now, like maybe by next summer, maybe they will be. Who knows? So either way, they're a young team. The future is bright. And I think, like I've said to you all season long, I'm just enjoying it game to game. That's my mentality. I can't speak for theirs, but I think Zinchenko gave us a little insight into how they're feeling now. Maybe they can go for it. I'm still game to game.
There was a thing, Cart popped up a thing on the screen about someone saying that Martinelli and Jesus were linking up quite well before Jesus' injury, and that made me think of something I wanted to ask Milo. So in a group I've got with the English guys back in England in football, someone posted, is there an argument that Nketiah gives you exactly what you need in a greater way than Jesus? And the response from the Arsenal fan in the group was, you could argue that. You could also say Martinelli has been less effective in front of goal when Eddie plays. Martinelli scored more when Jesus played. It's just different approaches. But Eddie is proving to be that sort of goal scorer. It's even going on to say he's the closest we've had to Ian Wright since Ian Wright. How do you feel about that? Like, he's a lifelong Arsenal fan, gone to Highbury, got a season ticket. I just wanted your opinion on that. Yeah.
Eddie does remind me of Ian Wright in some ways, but also I think Ian Wright was a very unique centre forward. I thought he was faster. I thought he was better playing off the shoulder, great finisher one-on-one, that kind of stuff. I'm not sure that Eddie is quite Ian Wright in terms of those stakes, but I do see like the energy that he brings. I think he's been working with, I'm pretty sure I saw an interview where he said he's been working with Jesus on trying to do some of the things that Jesus does. The dropping deep, the dropping out wide, just the energy, just generally being a pain in the arse. But he's also popping up and getting these goals, which is super important, obviously. I agree with the Arsenal fan in your group that different approaches, I think Jesus has a tendency to drop out to the left a bit more, whereas Eddie is just all over the place right now. And I'm loving it. Like, I wouldn't, I think Jesus, I don't want to say he's going to earn his way back in, but do I think that Arteta might leave Eddie there until we get a result that he doesn't quite like? You know what I mean? Whether it's a draw or a loss.
The way you're playing, yeah.
He probably should. But I mean, Jesus is still 3-4 weeks out. So
yeah. Do you think it could get to a point where you have some sort of strange left midfield and striker partnership that they'll only play? So like Martinelli it will be Smith Rowe or Trossard when Nketiah is up front, and then it'll be Martinelli when Jesus is up front. Like, do you think it'll ever get to that sort of point, or do you think Arteta's not that? He would rather just keep a team momentum with the players that are doing well?
I think he'll look to keep the momentum, but also I think we'll learn a bit more once the Europa League games start up again.
Right. So I was just thinking about it. We all play Football Manager. I was thinking about it in Football Manager terms. When you get like the good linkage between players, and then you put someone in who doesn't have a good linkage, you're like, oh no, I'm going to change it and make sure that the good link players are playing and things like that. So it's a really interesting one. I just think that, like, I've been so happy with what Eddie's done. Problem A is, okay, Jesus is injured. What the hell are we going to do? We've got Eddie Nketiah. Can he fill those shoes? I think Eddie has answered that with a resounding yes. Right? I don't think anyone will argue that right now. I think he's answered it differently, isn't he? He's scoring the goals that Jesus gave you the hard work, and now Nketiah is scoring goals where the other goals have potentially dried up. But you're right, you can't argue with the fact he's come in and done a good job. That is exactly what he's done. Yeah.
And I think Eddie knows, but also, like, for me, I just look at it in all the positive ways. I'm not worrying about it as a problem. Do you know what I mean? It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It's one of those good problems to have, right? So, like, let's say fast forward to the end of the season. Let's just say we're in the top 4, right? I know you're in the top 4. Let's just say we're in the top 4 and we're going into the Champions League. If we have an Eddie Nketiah that's way more comfortable coming into the team, or can play instead of Jesus in the champ, you know what I mean? It just gives us that depth. It's what I talked about at the start of the year. We had to keep working on depth. And it's something that even now, when you look at our bench, it's got some depth. It's still not where you'd want it to put on a challenge on multiple fronts that would include the Champions League. You know what I mean?
The flip side to that is that I think. Sorry, Mykal, I'll let you go in a minute. I know me and Milo are sort of taking over at the moment, but I'd say the flip side to that is that Arteta's proven youngsters can do a job. He's proving that you can trust that academy for bench positions and then put them in and give them an opportunity. And as a youngster at Arsenal, I'd be like, hey, don't go and buy this person to go and sit on your bench or give you depth. Look, I can do a job for you. Give me 3 games to try it, coming on for the last 10, 15, 5 minutes or whatever in each games, and I'll work hard and I'll get it done. And I think that's
the old you can't win anything with kids.
But that's what I was going to get to. I think that's incredible, right? It's incredible to have that hunger from an academy where players want to show that they can at least have the work ethic to get into the first team. Whereas that's, I think, a problem with some of the others clubs around the world at the moment is that there's not those opportunities, so they don't get it.
Doesn't Arsenal have like the lowest average age out of the in the Premier League? I think by a landslide too, if I remember. It's like by 2 years difference, I think.
Yeah, average age of the starting 11 across the season is Arsenal youngest by something like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, which is again a testament to not only Arteta but that board. And when you were mentioning earlier the Amazon documentaries that you're watching, the thing that stood out to me the most about that one was in the particular moment when they lost. I forget what game it was they lost, but it was a heartbreaker. And Arteta comes back to work, and it wasn't a question of why'd you do this, what it was. What do we need to do to help you get this over the hump? It was that immediate flip. And you're seeing that this season is that immediate flip. And again, they're not spending Chelsea amounts of money or United amounts of money in the offseason. It's tactical purchases. And we're seeing that again with Nketiah now is the test of time where he's no longer just going to be a cup, game player where, he's only helping you when you're playing 3 games a week. He's putting pressure on those front number 9s. So, and the Martinelli can play there. Smith Rowe could arguably play there. Saka could rotate in there. That whole front diamond is just impeccable with that team. And it's scary. It's scary to figure out how to defend.
Yep. It was a good game, though. Arsenal looking good. I think despite, if no injuries happen, I think that it's their title to lose, really. I think the only thing that can stop them is injuries. And I've said that since, I don't know, before like October, November.
I still think it's too early to say that, but that's just my opinion. So that's fine.
If there's no big, we've already seen an injury. If there's no big injuries, I can't see Arsenal Arsenal dipping in form because they play so automatic. It's so automatic.
Don't get me wrong. I love that you're saying that, right? And I love that people are thinking that. But I've seen teams, including your team, come back from points deficits,
12 points behind Newcastle. Yeah.
City are capable of winning every game from now to the end, right? You can't deny that.
This is a question for the panel here, right? If it was flipped and City were 5 points clear and had to play Arsenal twice and Arsenal were in second, would any of us say that City aren't going to win the league? If City were 5 points clear with a game in hand and had to play the team, let's say Arsenal are in second, they've swapped. If City are 5 points clear with a game in hand and have to play Arsenal twice, would anyone say City are not going to win the league?
But everything else feels the same about the clubs. Like my feeling towards Arsenal is exactly the same as it is right now.
So I'm just trying to get a barometer. Are we saying it's because City we know have that pedigree of going on to win titles from this position, and they have
far more experienced.
Yeah, the experience of winning the title.
I think it's because they've proven themselves, right? Because they've done, they have the pedigree. They've done it. Pep's shown that he can do it, unless it's in Europe. So I mean, Arteta's
they also bought in the most coveted centre forward in recent memory, who is about to break every goal scoring record in the Premier League.
True. Yeah, but they're not currently top. You are.
No,
that's
not.
why I'm asking. That's why I'm just flipping it around and saying, if it was City, would everyone be much more confident to say City aren't going to lose this?
Yeah,
I think they would. Yeah.
Okay.
I admittedly would. Yeah.
I mean, that would have to mean that Arsenal had some poor performances at some point.
Yeah,
Arsenal just haven't had any poor performances. Sure, they lost to United at Old Trafford.
It was a good performance.
They played well. Yeah,
they played fine. I'm just, Newcastle was a battle. Every other game, they've been clearly just, there's been no dip in form at all. There's no reason to think that if Partey, Xhaka stay fit, if Saliba, Gabriel stay fit, and Odegaard stays fit, there's no reason, and Saka, right? I mean, there's a lot of players, obviously, but if any big injuries doesn't happen, and just like Klopp said this week, right? If we had if Arsenal had 3, 4, 5 injuries, let's see where they'd be in the table, right? He said something similar. Exact same thing, right? If Arsenal had a couple more injuries, then it's completely okay from my perspective and completely understandable that they wouldn't be at the top of the table. It takes nothing away from the project or anything. The fact that they haven't had any injuries, they're a youthful squad, they have the physical exuberance to, play a marathon, run a marathon. It has been great, and there's no reason for me to believe that would slow down, but injuries. That's all. So if Arsenal was 5 points behind Man City, or potentially 8 points behind Man City at this stage, but my feeling about them was exactly the same, and my feeling about Man City was exactly the same, I would think Arsenal could potentially catch them, because City look vulnerable. They look weaker defensively with Haaland against good teams. Obviously, against the teams that they're clear favorites to beat, it's going to be a little more straightforward for Man City. But then that's when the complacency kicks in, and then they'll drop points or something like that. But and also, it's this would be 5 trophies in 6 seasons, 5 league titles in 6 seasons for Man City. I think people are overlooking the fact that there is an element of burnout. You're seeing it with Liverpool, you're seeing it with City to some extent, and I don't. Obviously, that pushes me towards saying Arsenal could win the title, because that just works in their favor. They're peaking at the right time. United, look at Chelsea, look at Liverpool. Tottenham is still doing Spursy things. If United maybe had one more year with Ten Hag, then maybe you'd see a completely different title or league perspective, just because at least one team is on the up. That's a little closer to Arsenal. But Arsenal's 3 years into their story. City's faltering, Liverpool's faltering. I think we're really overlooking the fact we just somehow think Man City's just going to win 5 out of 6. Like that's kind of crazy. I hope you guys understand that that's a really difficult thing to do.
It is, but we've seen seen it happen. We have seen teams go on runs, and other teams who were playing really well have something happen, and they go on a bad run. Like, it is not out of the realms of possibility. I just don't know that you've seen it.
Who's won 5 out of 6? Has United? I don't even think United's won 5 out of 6am
not talking about the 5 out of 6. I'm just talking in general about the points deficit. Like, it has happened.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because you've got to remember as well, it's not necessarily winning, let's say 5 out of 6. It's they could win 2 out of 6, and Arsenal could lose 3.
True.
No. I'm talking about league titles over the span of 6 years.
Sorry, league titles.
League titles over the span of 6 years. How many teams have won 5 out of 6? I don't think too many have.
I just think the money era of football is a different. I know that's what we're at now, and that's the way we're looking at it now. But you can't go back too far in history and compare it to some of the greater teams before, because the money era has changed that. You know what I mean? Like Chelsea were nothing, and then Abramovich turned them overnight into contenders of everything for multiple years in a row. Same happened with City. You know what I mean? Like, there's been since that happened, there's been a splash of United. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, what one right since all that happened?
Since
Abramovich? Since City got bought, I think we've won 3 titles since City got bought. 3 or 4. But yeah, it's a splash compared to what it used to be, right? So,
So my point, my point is, it's just that there has been dominant teams, whereas it never used to be like that, right? It didn't used to be like that. So I think this up and downness, like this 5 out of 6, and City might, that era might end. I don't know if it'll end, because they have the financial backing to do whatever they want.
But it might not end, but it might dip. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. I think we're overlooking when we keep saying, "Oh, I think Man City's going to come back. Man City's going to come back. Man City's going to come back." A dip is understandable. That maybe they'll come back next season. That's what I'm saying. I think this is a perfect. If Arsenal can put it together this season, it might be their best chance of winning.
I think.
Cash was talking about that in my Discord earlier, and I think Arsenal's a young team, and if you have a successful year this year, there's no reason they couldn't go on to have 3-4 more successful years.
There's no reason that it couldn't happen. No, sure. But I think you're seeing, like we mentioned, Chelsea's weakened, Liverpool's weakened, Man City could be experiencing burnout. United's in a rebuild. Arsenal, I mean, Tottenham is Tottenham. Arsenal is 3 years into their process. This is you're only going to, if you don't believe you can do it this year, I think it's only going to get more difficult to do it in the future years because other teams are almost rebuilding right now.
I don't look at City's team and look at that as a rebuilding team. I'm sorry. Come on, man.
You got to think that Pep's also got a ton of pressure to finally get over the hump in the UCL as well, right? Like, 5 out of 6 Premier League trophies, but what have you done in Europe? That's always been his black flag, right? I think if he's going to do something about it, this is the season to do it. You have everything on the table. You're not. I mean, you're what? How many points behind Arsenal right now? Do you start worrying or thinking that he's going to say, okay, well, I'll sack a game here in the Premier League, but, we'll have a fully fit, healthy team for Champions League, get rid of that drama that he's been clowning around forever. So,
yeah. I do think there's a point as well about Leicester. Like, I'm not comparing Arsenal and Leicester, but Leicester won that league title because sort of what Cart was saying, in the sense that a lot of teams were either struggling or rebuilding or, things went in their favour. And Leicester had such good morale, and all their key players stayed injury free. Like in that one season, Jamie Vardy didn't get an injury, Wes Morgan didn't get an injury, Mahrez didn't get an injury, and it was just like it all went in their favour at the right time. And I think Arsenal can do that this year and then build. We
finished second that season by 2 points. Yeah. Just want to throw that out there as well. So it wasn't like a runaway.
No, it wasn't a runaway, but everything. You didn't.
The stars aligned.
If Arsenal had played their best that season, they would have won the league because they were a better team than Leicester, right?
Yeah, we beat them both. We were the only team to beat them twice, I think. Yeah.
If Spurs had played their best that season, they might have won the league, but they didn't. They got smashed by Chelsea in the Battle of the Bridge or whatever it was. Exactly, too Spursy. But there is that element to Arsenal are in a better position to build on winning the league this year. And that's where I'm with you, Milo. I think 3 or 4 years down the line, they may stick with success. And success might not be winning the league every year. It could be doing second and challenging and Europe. But even
as Stefan in the chat says, IK says if Arsenal finish second, it would be a great season for them. In my opinion, it would. The expectation at the start of the season was Champions League. We just missed out last year. That was the expectation. And I will, till the end of this, till it's mathematically impossible, for me, the title would be an excellent bonus.
I'm going to say top 4 is an improvement from last season.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I mean,
as long as you're improving, to see the team improve.
Would there be a twinge of disappointment from this position?
They already have, Miles.
A twinge, obviously, culture.
Yeah.
Would there be a twinge of disappointment? Of course.
Yeah.
They've improved. Goal made. Goals accomplished.
They've still got to get to the end of the season before we can say
shoot for the stars, hit the moon or something. What is it?
You're still in space if you hit the moon or something like that. Yeah.
That's
for the moon, hit the star.
That's not my job to do that. My job is to, from me, is just to
manage
see what I'm seeing.
Emotional security.
I want to see improvement from the team because I've seen improvement from Wenger's teams after the last title win. There have been Arsenal teams that have got they're actually getting quite good here. They're building something, and then something happens for it to just drop off, some spectacular loss or something, whether it's 8-2 on aggregate to Bayern Munich or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought of this earlier. What is normally the midway point of the season? Is it Boxing Day, around Boxing Day?
No, it's just after New Year.
Just after New Year. So we're
about week of January, right?
We're about 3 weeks behind.
3 weeks behind. Okay. Yeah, because this would be the Wenger era you're referring to. This would be that time now, right? In this stage of the season.
No, because we've done it both ways under Wenger, where we had a terrible November, December, and then played very, very well from January to May. We've had it both ways under him over the years, but he was there for such a long time.
It was the winter.
That's always going to be. Yeah, sometimes. I mean,
when Arsene Wenger's knee started hurting and he couldn't walk to training properly.
I mean, look, guys. Everybody is hell bent on wanting to hear me say we're going to win the league, and I will say it when I think that from me, it's a certainty. You know what I mean?
I don't want to hear you say it. I think Cash really wants to hear you say it for some obscure reason.
I don't know, but there's a lot of why can't you just admit it? Like, you know what? Tough shit. You think what you think. Let
It's
me do me.
emotional damage. It's from emotional damage.
Hey, listen, man, I've seen a lot in my. I'm 41, so let's say I realized what football really was when I was 6 years old, 6 years old, somewhere in there. So for 35 years or so, you know what I mean? I've seen a lot happen in football, and
You've seen Arsenal win a title.
I've seen them win far more than one title.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of fans that probably haven't seen them win a title in their adult mind.
And those fans will be far more excitable about where we're at and what could happen and yada yada yada. I'm thinking for the club, Champions League is a must for further investment in the first team. Right? We got a great first team. I want us to compete with City, with a resurgent United, with a resurgent Liverpool, with a resurgent Chelsea, if that happens in the next 2-3 years. For that to happen, we must get Champions League for the money, even though Kroenke's like Dr. Evil of NFL or whatever. But like, you know, those are the key points anyway for me. Like, we need to secure Champions League. The title would be just the most, for me, this season would be the absolute icing on the cake. But I still think there's just too far to go, and the gap is not that. We have a game in hand, I know, so the gap could be 8 points again. But there's just too much football to play, man.
Milo, we've lived through Newcastle throwing away a 12-point lead at the top of the table, where
that was a great Newcastle team.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Like, that was a phenomenal team. What year was that?
I'll have to. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna look into that.
Please do, Cart, because it was.
What was the average age of that team? I'm curious. Who was the Kevin
96?
Keegan?
Yeah, Keegan was Newcastle manager.
Because that was. I'd love it if we beat them, right? I'd love it.
That was love it. Where Keegan lost his mind, basically. Yeah. And they had like Shearer up front. They had Philippe Albert at the back. Xhaka Hislop in goal.
Didn't they have was that the Shearer and Andy Cole year? That was the year Andy Cole scored 42 goals, wasn't it, or something?
Oh, it could have been. Yeah, it might have been that year, and then we bought him the next year. So.
Yeah.
But it's well worth looking up that season. It's a great season.
It was a fantastic season. It really was. Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else to add about the Arsenal United? I have some tactical stuff I wrote down, but
what I will say to the chat is the outburst at the beginning of this stream was definitely built up from me and Cart sitting in very friendly, amicable terms during the game.
That was
immediately following.
That was a good watch along.
You know what I mean? So we had to like hold it all in then, you know what I mean, for the watch along, and then it's just like, it just had to come out.
I felt like it was misunderstandings of questions and comments at the beginning of the stream because everyone was a bit pent up about it. And other than obviously Michael, who was sitting there laughing his head off trying to mediate the whole thing.
I was enjoying it.
So
I didn't feel okay. Yeah, there was a little bit of pent up, I guess, a little bit.
I felt like I had two United fans and me. You know what I mean?
How you feel every time I chat in your chat? You know that way. I'm surrounded by Arsenal fans, man. They're everywhere.
I do have a question though, directed to Milo. I'm not going to start anything, I don't think. But a lot of what you were saying was about staying healthy and Thomas Partey and Xhaka in the midfield. I have lost what has happened to Thomas Partey's those allegations that came out towards the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
those just kind of disappeared.
So I mean, at the end of the day, legally speaking,
right.
I don't buy into what's on Twitter or social media. Right, I'm more of the facts person, so I haven't got access to any of that. I have to, I have to trust that the club have looked at every angle of it, and for them, it's a non-issue. So there's no weight in it. I don't know. I know Cartwheel feels different at the time he did. He hasn't mentioned it lately, and we haven't really got into it. Because he hasn't been charged, so legally, if you say his name legally, like you can't do that without. You could get in trouble for that, right? Because he's not been charged.
I said allegations. I said allegations.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
The understanding I have is that was it alleged to have happened in Spain? I think it's Spain or Greece, one of the two. that if he
But
goes
I
back
think
to
it
that
was-
country, he's going to get
I
arrested.
think it was in Spain because it was when, if I remember right, it was when he was still.
But where did you hear
under the
that?
Atletico Madrid.
Cultured?
From newspaper readings, journalism.
Right, and
That's all
this
I
is
can
what
read
I'm
it from,
talking
yeah.
about, though. This is what I'm
Not
talking
Twitter,
about, and
not Twitter.
no, but everything in the media is click related. Everything.
Yeah,
I don't believe something somebody writes in a newspaper, like just because it's written there, it doesn't make it true. Like all I'm saying is we don't know the facts.
yeah.
Right.
I agree with you in the sense that I think if it had, I'm not going to say there's no basis behind it because I think that's thrown it out the window. But if there was more basis behind the allegations, I think Arsenal would have done something a little bit more to quash it or
Right.
subdue it or something like that as a football club, or at least explain what was happening and the situation. But because it's just sort of drifted, I've sort of
It
feel like
disappeared.
it just disappeared. I sort of feel
Yeah.
like you can't tell. So until we hear more about it, it's innocent until proven guilty, isn't it? So like that's
Now,
the basis of it. And
If it comes up in the off season, though, if it resurfaces and then all of a sudden it explodes to the head, does that put that asterisk on your season now? That's my concern. That would be my concern as a fan.
Okay,
Because
well,
as
I think that's a bit of a reach because he's one player amongst a squad of, young players that if they won the league, I mean, they've had a phenomenal season. To me, that is a reach. I think that's a reach, man. I'm sorry. I do.
It's a tough hypothetical to get into for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think like, would it put it wouldn't put an asterisk on it because Thomas Partey, like he's a great player in his position, right? But I said at the time, if he had done something like that, I would not want him in the team, obviously, right? And I think I said to you, Cart, we had some passionate discussions about it at the time that, I trust my club that I've known my whole football life and seen the way they handle things. I trust that they would not have stood by someone they didn't believe in when it comes to these allegations. And there is that whole aspect of it that it's very easy for, people have gone to jail for things they haven't done, right? So it's got to be done in the right way. Whether or not he can go, I guess we'll find out, Cultured, if we play a Champions League game next year and he mysteriously can't play. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, that's
Like
what I'm waiting on.
Like
yeah.
maybe then that will turn out to be a possibly accurate storyline. Who knows?
Yeah.
The thing for me is, I feel like Arsenal Football Club would have said, no, you gotta go face up to that and deal with that, and then we'll have you back once then we'll have you back once you're acquitted or whatever. But like, it's such a eggshells conversation, man.
Yeah,
because
it really is.
It is so easy for somebody to go out there and say he did this, right? And social media just instantly you're guilty. Instantly.
Yeah.
And it spreads like absolute fucking wildfire. And all I think about is I don't know enough. I wasn't there. Whoever has the info, whether it's the police in that country or whatever, like it has to be dealt with by them. And until then, I'm when he's wearing an Arsenal shirt, is he putting in a good shift? If he's not, then I'd have more to say about his performance. But
I think.
Sorry,
Carl. Go on.
It's something really. It's not really. I don't think we should put too much time into it. All I'll say is, we talk about sports washing or whatever, like Saudi Arabia, etc. These big time celebrities, because Partey is a celebrity. Technically, he's just as big as like a Hollywood actor or something, in the world of football. And these guys get away with a lot of stuff. He would just be. There's two ways to look at it. He's just another one of those people who gets away with it, or he's being wrongly accused. And both are very extremes, but more than likely the public opinion is that these big guys get away with shit, I mean,
it's happened to a lot of people, right? Neymar, Ronaldo,
Well,
Kobe Bryant.
Right.
Mendy
they try to get you when you're having success, right? And Partey's having success. So
Mendy
it's like
at Man City. Everyone assumed he was guilty. And the
Exactly.
courts, he went to a court case, and it's come back as all accounts were falsely accused, and he's going to have now. There's 2 appeals that he's got to get through, but
Jenny
everyone
Thomas.
would have immediately said he was guilty of all 7.
And one of those people released a video on. I don't know if you remember. There was a video doing the rounds on social media of one of those incidents and all sorts. I don't know if you remember that, but there was. What was circulating in the party case were some screenshots that could have been his phone or from him, or it could have been completely fabricated. Like, what you can do is, like, we just don't know. We don't know. Yeah. So I have to, for my own sanity, I have to believe that the club would do the right thing. And they've not shown me, when it comes to something as serious as that, they've never shown me in my lifetime that they wouldn't. Does that make sense?
I don't think it's up to the club. I think it's up to the authorities and the justice system. But we all have all heard, horror stories of the justice system not working for, victims, etc. And I think, without getting too far into it and like quoting a bunch of other cases, we can talk a little about Dani Alves, because I do have that written down. But all we can say is we acknowledge the fact that victims sometimes go unheard, and that's sad. And it's out of our control, but I feel bad for those victims. But there's really nothing we can do, sadly. And it's just, that's the situation. Is not saying Partey is guilty, not saying he's innocent.
I feel bad for the victims, but I also feel bad for people in life that are wrongly accused.
Absolutely.
Equally, I feel bad for them both.
But I do, yes, I feel bad for them equally, but we hear so much. That's what I'm saying. I think the public opinion is that we hear so much of these guys getting away with it. Epstein and
it's just that we're hearing it through sources that literally their entire motivation is read my article, not that guy's.
Yeah.
So everything.
Okay. Sometimes it comes straight from the victim. And like the Mason Greenwood, that came straight from the victim. No news story, no spin, no nothing. The Mason Greenwood, his ex or whatever, went straight to social media with it. Everyone saw it. Boom, justice served. The Partey situation, similar situation. She didn't have video, but it was a similar vibe. Obviously, it could have been fabricated. And same thing happened. Another guy, Andrew Tate, apparently talking to minors about this and that. People are saying it could be a deep fake of his voice. Like it can happen. It's not happening. We just don't know. We don't know. But we do hear about it happening, and there is a public. I feel okay. This is my opinion then, that big time celebrities get away with it with lawyers, etc. Speaking of Dani Alves, he's been arrested in Barcelona on allegations of sexual misconduct. The alleged victim is not accepting Dani Alves' settlement. I think he's tried to settle multiple times. Alves gave 3 different statements to authorities. None of them align with the security cameras and with the witnesses' testimony. So this is a case where, Alves was trying to get a settlement, like Ronaldo got a settlement, I believe, or tried to get a settlement. And it's the victim's not, going for it, etc. And we're going to see what happens now. He's been arrested. It's not looking too good for him. But yeah, there's security cam footage, etc. And so yeah, kind of a bummer for Dani Alves. Odd transition, but let's keep moving. We got other matches to talk about. We're talking about Man City challenging Arsenal. Pep Guardiola says, describing his fans after that comeback against Spurs: guts, passion, fire, desire to win from minute 1. The same with the fans. They are silent for 45 minutes. I want my fans back. I won 4 La Liga titles in a row as a player, and after I was not starving enough. Too much caviar. Madrid beat me. I understand Man City players not as hungry after winning 4 league titles out of 5, but I'm here to turn this around. I want to be here. And if I lose the team, I can't.
He's a dick, isn't he?
He's really he's something else, Pep. Rumors of a mass exodus from City. Pretty amazing comeback against Tottenham last Wednesday, Thursday. 2-0 down at half, and then just capitulated. Span of 20 minutes, 4 goals or something, 3 goals.
Very Spursy.
Yeah, very Spursy. And I have written here, it's probably the hardest thing about being a manager, especially long term, keeping the players motivated for several years to achieve the same thing over and over again. As incredible as the players are on paper, they have to rebuild some sort of hunger, new blood, etc. Haaland being so removed from the like kind of the buildup of the play, I don't think you're going to get that same type of feel of new blood. Though at the beginning, obviously, he was just going crazy, and still going crazy, right? He's scored his 4th hat trick in 19 appearances. Pretty amazing stuff. But yeah, big comeback versus Spurs last week. They beat Wolves handedly yesterday, 2 days ago, yesterday. Friday we got Arsenal City.
Man City. Michael touched on this earlier, right? That they haven't won the Champions League, so how can they be complacent? Like Liverpool, with under Klopp, I can understand some of those players having a bit of maybe struggling to generate the momentum and the motivation to carry on doing it because they won the league and the Champions League under Klopp. And they might, or like Mane probably thought, I've won both of those, let's go and try something different, for example. But City haven't won the Champions League. That's their motivation. Those players and those fans should not need G'ing up to be motivated, whether it's the league or the Champions League, because no one is going to say Pep is a success at Man City unless he wins the Champions League. Like, let's be honest, that is the motivation they should be having every day. And if they can't have that motivation, whether it's a Premier League game or not, because it's all about form, that's their own fault. And that's Pep's fault. And it's the club's fault. And it's going to be harsh, and I'm going to get ripped to shreds in the comments about that because Extreme's in there and so is Greg. But if they cannot be motivated every session and think our end goal is to win the Champions League and do a double or a triple or a quadruple, then what's the point? What's the point in them being there? Go and play for Madrid, go and move to Barcelona, go and move to Bayern, go and do these other clubs and as in to go and try new things like Mane's done. If they don't have the motivation to win the Champions League and have all that effort, then what's the point? Like, Pep can't come out and have those comments and say, the fans are lit 45 minutes and then it's up to me to motivate them. Fuck that. You haven't won the Champions League. None of those players have won the Champions League at City. Go and do it and then think about getting complacent and lacking motivation.
I mean, I don't want to back Pep here necessarily, but hasn't the meme about Man City always been it's a library,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, United fans literally have a chant about it. Like, the city's blue. Are you? What is it? 50,000 empty seats? Are you fucking sure? Sorry for language. But
don't worry, you can swear. You can swear here.
Yeah.
But so to his point, like, is it? To his point though, like, it's the fans do have to show up still. Like, you can't like. I feel like there is a bit of complacency when it comes to City fans because they have come to expect that the league's the league, and yes, there is still the desire for Champions League games, but it's always like I turn on a Man City game and it's quiet as hell. Like it always is, and the only time I start hearing them is they concede a goal, they concede 2 goals, and then they're booing their home team again. So like. At what point is he speaking facts instead of it just being hogwash?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think what's happening is, I mean, who made comments about the fans recently? Arteta has, Ten Hag has. Maybe Pep is learning from these new managers that are coming into the league. He's learning. He has something to learn. Did you guys, believe it or not, guys? Believe it or not. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead, Culture.
I was just reading the comments there, and Extreme was saying against Wolves it was loud. Well, yeah, but you scored in the first 14 minutes, didn't you? So that's always going to get the crowd. It was at the 40th. Well, I watched the game. I don't think it was.
Well, they were also battering him the whole game. Like it was a downhill. Bruising. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you get overnight success.
Exactly. I didn't want to bring that up, but there isn't a legacy there. Yeah, there isn't a legacy, and there's fans that are they've got fans that aren't, or they don't have as many fans as, let's say, Arsenal, United, Newcastle, Leeds, to that point of view, where the older generation are the people that are like, it's not always like this. Like, you've got to go through the tough times and still go to the ground. Because if Man City, let's say they got found for financial regulations, right? Let's say we'll get onto Juventus later, I'm sure. But let's say they had a Juventus-ish thing that found Man City guilty, and they didn't lawyer up and scare off FIFA and the FA and things like that, and they actually got found guilty, and they got relegated to League Two. Do you think all those Man City and the oil money leaves? Are the fans still going to go? Let's say they get 50,000 fans now on average. Of course they're bloody not.
No.
Of course they're not. Whereas there will be a hardcore 70,000 Man United fans that would go to the stadium every week, and Arsenal, and Leeds, and Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle did it when they're in the Championship anyway, under Rafa Benitez selling out St James's Park, with Mike Ashley as an owner. So, and that's what I think the concern is, right? I think that's the problem with these overnight success that Eddie Nketiah, as I've given him his name on today's show, brought up, that it is overnight success and they all feel entitled and they've not had the struggles of previous generations. So
speaking of overnight success, Antonio Conte has not been an overnight success at Spurs. But just a comment from chat. We'll talk about some Spain and La Liga a little later as well.
That's the same thing. You mean Spain and Syria?
Oh, sorry, Spain and Syria. Sorry. We have Antonio Conte said there's a bad habit in England. Obviously, Spurs lost to City last week. They won today against Fulham. Nice Harry Kane goal. Harry Kane is now tied with who's it?
Jimmy Greaves.
Jimmy Greaves for most Spurs.
Let's just all be happy he didn't do that against Arsenal, shall we?
And there's talk of Harry Kane possibly moving in the summer, maybe once he gets the record. Anyways, Bayern and United top two targets.
But we were talking about this at the weekend. Those of you that support teams that want that to happen, so I'm going to say Cart and Michael and Culture, but I don't know how much of a Harry Kane fan you are. Now, if you're in a rebuild, as you put it, like, is Harry Kane? I don't think he's the age and profile player that you want to start building around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If he's available, you get him. I think he's got at least 4 more years in the Premier League to score goals in the Premier League.
They also showed that with in terms of Man United. They've shown that with Casemiro that they're not necessarily buying only players that are rebuilding around. So
how could I forget the eternal Casemiro?
Yeah,
sorry, no. I'm just kidding.
The latest news is that Harry Kane's going to sign a new contract. So
yeah,
and he's got a bit berated for that because
why would he stay there again?
Because they're going to pay him a ton of money, and then they're going to also sell a ton of Harry Kane shirts, which is the only income that they have.
They're going to have a really gormless-looking statue outside their ground, aren't they?
Just this massive head, just a bust, like a little pop doll outside their stadium.
Be like a bubblehead outside the stadium.
Real quick on Conte, he said there's a bad habit in England if only the head coach speaks publicly. I've never seen a club or sporting director come here and explain the strategy and vision of a club. In Italy, in every game, there's a person from the club who has to go before the media. What do you guys think about that? Do you like Edu or I don't know who's in charge at Bayern or I
don't want to come across like a Milo soundbite on his stream, right? But if you ain't English, right, you don't understand because he would have known that happens in the Premier League. I have never, ever, in all my years of watching the Premier League since 1992 when it started, I have never, ever seen anyone other than the manager or the assistant manager give a press conference.
Right. Well, that's what he's
a known fact. Yeah, but that's a known fact. He can't come to England and say, "Well, it's not just my fault because I'm the only one that has to go in front of the press." No, that's what happens in England. I don't care.
He said there is a bad habit in England.
But that's what happens. The manager stands up to the press.
I understand.
And it's not. But he's saying everyone's blaming him, right? That's what his point is of this. He's the only one that gets the blame because he's the only one in front of the press.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's what I think his point is, which is bullshit. Because Man United fans blame the Glaziers. Arsenal fans have blamed the Cronkies. Spurs fans are blaming Enick and Levy right now. Like, it's just that's the manager's job in England to go and face the press unless you have a injunction against them like Fergie did with the BBC for like 7 years. So you
wouldn't like to see Levy talk to the media more?
No.
I would.
I think especially Spurs fans would.
There's no harm in it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's not his job. Yes, he should, but not after a game.
It's not his job, sure. I'm just saying I would like to hear his thoughts more than just, sitting in the stands, sitting next to a famous person,
Yeah, but
everything. I understand it's not English. I understand.
No,
but
would I like to hear their thoughts more? Yes. To that question, yes.
No.
But
No.
Conte's doing this after he's just got smashed around by Man City.
Sure.
And he's saying, why do I have to face the press after losing a game? When they win, he's not going to be saying, oh, let's go and chat to Daniel Levy. He was instrumental in this win, is he? He's going to be saying, it was me, it was my tactics, we got it spot on.
Right.
He didn't say after they beat Fulham that Daniel Levy should come down and explain the win and explain what our theory is.
Maybe around transfer windows, it would be cool to hear them more or something.
Yeah. Again, it's not their job. You don't hear CEOs talking to other bits of press, do you, all the time? And when things are going badly or about business deals, it's the manager who's in the situation at the time in any company.
Absolutely. Let's keep moving along. We got kind of a dull game between Chelsea and Liverpool, but it was a special debut for what's his? I forgot what his first name is. Mudryk. What's his first name?
Mykhailo
Mudryk.
I've already forgotten.
He's
had
dead
a great
to my, he's gone.
Yeah, he's dead to me.
Lewis Hall, the youngster, was playing defensive mid for Chelsea. You know, somehow they're short of numbers after signing like 20 players. Liverpool beat Wolves in the FA Cup. Replay 1-0. That was Klopp's and then against Chelsea, that was Klopp's 1000th match. And you know what he said? He said Arsene Wenger lost his 1000th game 6-0, so I'm pretty happy. Jeez. How did he work that in? Who is that?
Taking shots at an old man.
Who is that?
Such a bitter old man.
Who did they lose against? I don't know. I wonder. Anyways, but yeah, that game was kind of, two teams that are just kind of like, Liverpool had that young guy Bajetic or something. I don't know how to say his name. Young kid. Looks good. He looks really good. Playing next to Thiago. Thiago started playing better, I think. I woke up for that game at 4:30.
Bad luck.
Yeah. It was. It is.
It was a game that epitomized mid-table Premier League when two teams are in a bad run of form. Like, it was dreadful. It was awful.
I felt it was quite exciting just because they were both like so kind of. There were such big names on the field, but they were playing so poorly.
They're just in a tough patch. Both teams. They're both facing a lot of criticism from everyone in football, pundits, fans, etc. And I think I think the scoreline will suit them both down to the ground, to be honest, because it's a point from a big game, right?
Yeah.
Neither team wanted to lose. Yeah, neither team wanted to lose, which is what made it a really crap spectacle.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've seen good Arsenal teams in that exact kind of fixture before, so it's all part of it. Having a rough season. I mean, it happens to us all. Join the club.
Yeah. Liverpool plan to recall Reece Williams from Blackpool, and Nat Phillips is expected to exit as well. Moving on, let's talk a little Juventus.
I forgot to say in the thing earlier. If we want to fit in a rapid fire today, I can. I do have one ready.
How are you guys on time? I know Hoff has hard out pretty early. I know Michael's up pretty late. I don't know. Cultured, you probably got things.
I got nothing but time.
I've got a public holiday today, so I'm not working. So I can have a little
overtime then. We'll do some if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Public holiday. What holiday is it?
Lunar New Year. Second day of Lunar New Year. So.
Oh, nice.
You are having a rough year, though, Socko, are you not? Like, I don't feel like that was arrogant to say that.
And over here, I was like, Milo, you don't have to be so nice. It's okay. They can handle it. And then, boom, Socko comes with this. Jeez, I thought you were being very nice. I was like, you're being very political. You're being very, very kind. They have off years. And then, boom, just out of nowhere.
Oh, bitching about Klopp for a misquote? Okay.
Oh, he didn't say that about Arsene Wenger? Oh, I'm sorry.
I just said I thought it was harsh that he was attacking an old man. I mean, Wenger's 70-odd years old, for God's sake.
I don't think he was attacking him.
It's like having a go at your granddad.
Could have gone worse. I think that's what he's saying.
Like, if people yell at your granddad, you're going to be like, oi,
I don't know how old. I wonder how old
Wenger
that
is
Arsenal
like
but-
my granddad, really.
Yeah, he's up there. Well, okay.
Right, Juventus.
All right, let's talk, well, okay, just a little more. Since we have a bit more time, we'll just talk a little bit about other Premier League things that happened this week. Obviously, we've talked only about Premier League, but Emi Martinez, I don't know if you guys saw it. He had a massive save at the end of the Southampton game. Villa won 1-0. Big win there. Frank Lampard has been sacked by Everton.
Oh,
After a
too
2-0
long.
loss to West Ham. Apparently, Bielsa is being interviewed for that job. Frank had something like 30. Extreme had posted in Discord 35 points from 39 games or something.
Yeah, dreadful.
I saw that he's already got in some of the MLS rumors. He's already got a couple interviews lined up for MLS clubs.
Frank,
Of course he has.
44
Oh,
years
yeah.
old, by the way. That's how old Frank is. I didn't know.
Sean Dyche will get that job.
Oh no.
He'll get it till the end of the season. If he keeps them up, they'll give him a contract extension. That's my prediction.
Okay.
I don't think Everton
What's
could-
Fat Sam doing?
Oh, he's busy.
Big Sam.
Big
What about
Sam.
Rooney?
Oh, sorry.
Fat,
Wait, did they
Nah.
change it to Big Sam?
it's Big
Is this
Sam.
more politically correct?
Bugsy Malone. If you remember that, Fat Sam's Grand Slam.
I
Anyway,
thought it was Fat Sam.
Big Sam.
Fat Albert.
I know it was Fat Frank for a while in an Arsenal
Oh,
song
yeah.
about Lampard.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
Wayne Rooney ruled himself out straight away.
Listen, I'm fat, so
Did
it's
he?
fine.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
worry about it.
He was 7-1 second favourite, Rooney, at the beginning, and he ruled himself out straight away. Apparently. But I don't think Everton are ready for Bielsa. I don't think those players are ready for a relegation battle with Bielsa. I don't think that would quite work. So I'm going Sean Dyche. Yeah.
Sean Dyche. Yeah, could be. And a last bit of a Premier League news I had was Mitoma from Brighton. Brighton, actually, managed by Milo via. Sorry, who's the manager?
Sven Goran Eriksson.
Sven Goran Eriksson.
Yes, Sven. Scored a great goal for Brighton. He came from the Kawasaki Frontail Academy in Japan. Same place Kubo came from. I don't know.
He looks good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a
Timer.
good player. Obviously, FA Cup this week as well. City, Arsenal, United, Reading, Brighton, Liverpool. That'll be a fun one. Wrexham, the fan favorite, Wrexham versus Sheffield, and Preston versus Spurs. And Newcastle have kept more clean sheets in the league than goals conceded. After their 0-0 draw with Palace, they've kept 12 clean sheets and conceded 11 goals. Other quick Premier League news. We kind of mentioned Mudryk, but Palace manager Patrick Vieira, who basically said Chelsea's 500 million transfer spending spree is going to affect asking prices for the rest of the Premier League clubs. And generally, he was saying it's a bad, it's not good for the league, or it's not good for other clubs. But I think he was saying it's good for the league. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on Chelsea's crazy spending, bully ball, as it's called?
I mean, I don't think it's going to really have a lasting impact if they're not successful. At this rate, all he's doing is spending money just to throw it down the drain. So what clubs are going to adhere to that if they're not winning anything, right?
Yeah.
Apparently the contracts are spread out over
6 years.
7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It's just, when you think about the money, like somebody worded it as almost $500 million. That's when it starts to go, well, Jesus,
Yeah.
Crikey, that is a lot of money.
It is changing there's more of these sorts of transfers. Now, can you remember when Neymar moved, right? And it was like 200 million. Everyone was like, oh my God, we'll never get anywhere close to that ever again. And now it's sort of like, well, prices are creeping up that as a bit of a regular. And I think Arsenal, when they didn't get Mudryk, then inquired about another winger. And someone came out and was like, well, Mudryk set the price now. If that's the price Mudryk's going for, our winger's going to be the same. I'll have to find the article, whether it was right or wrong. But and then it was Trossard just happened very quickly. So, but I think
it's all Chelsea's fault to begin with, because again, it was the Abramovich era that started all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
Man City paying 100 million for Grealish hasn't helped either. So
That's
Yeah,
still,
mind you,
in my
you lot-
opinion, one of the worst transfers. I
You
think.
lot paid a lot of money for Rio at the time. It was a crazy amount, wasn't it? It was
it was
30
the British
mil.
record. Yeah, 32 million. But
That
it
was
was
crazy at
20
the
million
time.
and then 12
Harry
million add-ons.
Maguire.
And Veron,
Harry
similar
Maguire,
amount for
Varane.
Veron, I think.
Yeah.
Veron's at least been a return on investment thus far. Harry Maguire's.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for other, Portuguese and the Portuguese league and the Netherlands league. It's good. It's good for them. This spending.
The fact that money from that Mudryk deal goes into the war kitty is kind of weird.
That is
Yeah.
interesting.
There's that whole element to it.
They could have just done that deal, and then Shakhtar could have just said, "We're donating 20 million." Don't have to say where it's come from. Don't have to say it was part of the deal. Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah, it's just a very weird, turn of events.
Talking of Liverpool, very briefly, sorry, and transfers, I'd like to get Socko's opinion. I was chatting to a Liverpool fan who lives in Asia, and he's older than me, so he's really old. He's lived through Liverpool quite a lot. He's lived in the UK, and he was saying he didn't want the club to sign Cody Gakpo, and it reminds him of signing El Hadj Diouf. It's going to be El Hadj Diouf 2.0, and he's going to be an absolute failure. So, thoughts on that, people?
Yeah, I think anyone who's coming into Liverpool right now is gonna look like it's gonna look tough. It's just a tough time. Any signing that comes in is gonna have a tough time right now, and so they're gonna have to deal with that. I'm sure. I hope they're briefed on that type of thing. Like Liverpool isn't obviously as strong as they were a couple of years ago. I don't think that's I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with that. And coming into that type of team right now, everyone's going to look a little like, oh, why did they pay so much for this person? Why did they pay so much for this person? Now, if Liverpool as a whole don't turn it around, then it might feel like El Hadji Diouf signing. But if they can turn it around, I think they're great talents. I'm happy that United missed out on Gakpo right now because Liverpool are 2 losses and a draw into the new calendar year.
I agree with Socko that I think Gakpo will be fine. I do think it's just going to be another player that he's young as well, right? He's pretty young.
Yeah.
I think it's another player that just needs some time to adjust to the Premier League.
I think so. I mean, Ten Hag wanted Gakpo for a reason, right? Like he's played in the Dutch league for how long? He's coached there. I mean, he knows a good player when he sees him. And Gakpo's been a lot of teams' radars for a long time. He was even on Bayern's radar for a long time as well. So I don't think that he's a bad player. Same with, Liverpool fans are going to come after you for this, but I don't think Darwin Nunez is a bad player. Is he bad right now? Yes. Is it a part of being on a bad team right now? Yes. So, if they were winning right now, Gakpo would be the best signing in the league and no one would hear anything otherwise. So,
Right.
An example I use that's a similar move is when RVP came to Arsenal after looking really decent at a certain level. It took him several years to really crack into the first team, and 9 years before he became the centre forward in the Premier League, and then went on to do what he did. The little dirty. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not always insta success, especially for a player that young. I think Liverpool know they're in. We've talked about it endlessly on the wrap-up show. They've gone toe-to-toe with City. I think there's an element of that. There's an element of Mane leaving, and it's changed the shape of their attack. A lot of people are pointing fingers at their defense and stuff. They've had a lot of injuries this year. It's just one of those years, I think, for them.
I think Liverpool fans also have a weird outlook on transfers. I mean, like they hit really high with Luis Diaz, right? And they brought him in, immediate impact, immediate success. And they've had some of those in the past. Same with Mohamed Salah. It was an immediate impact, immediate success. But not every transfer is going to be one that is going to win you the league today. And when you buy a sub 25-year-old player, I think you have to look at it that way. This isn't we're going to win the league this year. We're not going to, we could salvage top 4 with him, but maybe Liverpool fans have that same kind of outlook because of their recent success. So I think they just need to re-humble themselves and realize that this isn't going to be a this year immediate 20 goal kind of player and deal with it. And then next year when he scores 20, they'll have that humble pie of, oh, we called him shit last year. So
Yeah, my issue with Darwin Núñez is that I think Liverpool haven't been performing well because he's missed loads of chances. And I don't know if you can recover from that. Like, Liverpool would be higher up if he had matched his anywhere near his XG.
Okay. I think Liverpool's issues are in midfield. Everything kind of builds off that.
Oh yeah, I'm not blaming it all on
drop
Darwin
off of
Núñez.
Henderson.
Is this because you
Fabinho
hate
instead.
Henderson, Carl?
I just like Henderson, but Fabinho, I thought he still had more time in him, but he's dropped off quite a bit. It's like that's a big
Fabinho's still
drop-off.
really young too.
I've been seeing more of Nketiah as well, and I don't think he's. I don't know for sure, but it feels like he hasn't lived up to expectation. I know he's had a lot of injuries. Everyone's
They're
had
trying to sell
injuries.
him,
at
I think,
Liverpool.
aren't they? I think they've already flagged him for a sale in the summer.
Who's that?
Keita.
Yeah.
Maybe
But-
Keita.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, they've got on paper, if everyone's fit, they've got a great squad. But even with that full squad, I still think they're the point where they have to really work hard at fixing is midfield. Even when everyone is fit, I still think their midfield needs something. I'm personally not a massive Thiago fan. I'm sorry. I think he's good. I don't
During
think
the
he can
injury,
carry that midfield. But
during this injury hit time for Liverpool, maybe that's why we're seeing Harvey Elliott and the new guy Bajastilic, or whatever his name is, in central mid to sit, and Klopp's going to give them 2-3 months and say, "Prove to me you can do it, otherwise we're going to go and buy someone."
I really like that Baj Tech guy. I really like him.
Isn't Harvey Elliott though like a natural wide player, right?
Yeah, he is.
They're
But
trying
he
to
played
move
in
him.
centre mid, didn't he?
He doesn't have the body build to be, that kind of central midfielder, I don't think.
Next year could be the year we see Trent move into central midfield, where he's always wanted to play.
True.
Yeah.
I know every time we've talked about it earlier, we're all FM players. Every time Liverpool goes like a year past my FM saves, Trent's somehow in the midfield all of a sudden, and they buy some right back. So maybe there's some truth to it.
And just looking at chat, Thiago's the only. I understand why Thiago is appreciated, and I understand what his skill set is, but I don't think he can carry that Liverpool team. They signed him after they won the Champions League, I believe. The summer after, I believe. And I thought it was a good move at the time, but watching his play style, I remember the criticism I had at the time was he kind of slowed Liverpool down a little bit. And that's why I'm saying Thiago by himself in that Liverpool midfield isn't. I don't think it's Klopp's preferred style of midfielder. Where I don't. My personal opinion is I just think of Klopp as like a fast counter attacking type of manager, and Thiago likes to get on the ball, dribble around, avoid tackles, then ping a pass back to his center back type of thing. That's my perception. Obviously, I don't watch every minute he plays, but and he's a great player. He's very technical. He's very good. I just don't think he's world class or world class. There's a lot of people at world class. I don't think he's quite. Just me. I could be. I'm open to being wrong. I know.
I think you're right though. That's kind of how he was at Bayern. He's more of an artist. He thrives on teams that hold the ball, and that's what Liverpool was for the longest time. Is he holds the ball, he passes out. Yeah,
I think Klopp was looking to potentially change how Liverpool played, and other elements around the team with injuries and stuff like that, and those sorts of impacted what he wanted to get from Thiago, even back when they first signed him. I think that's because I think. Again, thinking as a football manager, like I've managed an amateur team here and I play Football Manager a lot, and that's the most accurate game we can have to being what it would be like to be a real football manager. I do think you have to evolve, right? You have to evolve your tactics when people know how you play. And I think that's what Klopp was doing, trying to bring in Thiago and Keita and Fabinho and people like that in stages to make that a new system where they try and control the ball a bit more. And it just hasn't worked out because of the injuries they've had. And whether he's given up on it or he's going to try it again when everyone's fit, I don't know. Because that's what I think they got in Arthur. I don't know how you say it. The Brazilian, he was a ball player. He wasn't an up and down box to boxer sort of player. He was more of a ball player. So they were building to something. But yeah,
I think Naby Keita is still one of the most head-scratching transfers I've ever seen from a Big Five team. That I still don't understand his purpose in that squad.
Yeah, it seemed like he was just there to give, physical reinforcement, just legs type of thing. That's how he's industrious, right? Industrious player at the time. Another bit of Premier League news. Well, not Premier League, Liverpool related news. Luis Suarez made his debut for Grêmio at the age of 35 in Brazil, and he scored a hat trick on his debut in a 4-1 victory. It's pretty awesome. It would have been nice to see him go to maybe Liverpool on like a 6-6. That would have been cool.
Until he bites his way out of the league.
I was going to say, did he bite anyone in Brazil? But yeah. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
I'm trying to see if I have any other Premier League stuff. I have Jesse Lingard here. Jesse Lingard reveals he regularly turned to drink to take the pain away when abuse from Manchester United fans, his mum's battle with depression, and poor form became too much to bear. It's tough times. That's for him. But yeah, drink is a problem. That's something I noticed.
Footballers are humans too.
Yeah. No, but the term drink, I turn to drink is very different from American grammar, right? We'd say turn to alcohol.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Turn to the drink.
That's what we would say in England.
Yeah, that is what we say in England. If that's true and he was depressed and that's how he thought the best way to deal with it, I feel like that's very sad. Like not as in sad, as in it is a sad feeling to hear that a human goes through that.
Yeah.
But then I also think he hasn't, with all the fame and the network he's got, he should have built a better support network. And whether that is therapists to chat it through and help guide him and do things like that, maybe that should fall on the club a little bit more to help at that situation. But if I had something that made me incredibly depressed, and luckily I don't at the moment, but if I had something that made me incredibly depressed, I would like to seek help about it, because I'd have a decent support network that would help me get through it, my wife being the main one, and she would encourage me to go and talk to other people if I couldn't talk to her about it. So I don't understand why footballers turn to drink. Is it because it's high pressure, they don't have time to do anything else? I don't know. But it is sad if that's true and that's how he felt, and it got to him that much. It's very upsetting to hear that happen to a human being. But I do feel like footballers are in a very good position to should be able to deal with it better than the average income household.
You would think they would have the resources, to provide the very best in mental health care as much as healthcare. So I agree with you completely on that. I mean, it's not to say that it's not a something that happens, but it's I feel like
it's not like the 90s when it happened to Gaza and those sorts of players where they weren't
Tony Adams and
more than they were earning more than the average household, but they weren't earning more than CEOs of companies and things like that. Like now, all of that should be in place.
They were also as a team going to the pub after the game.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's sad to hear it, but there should be a support network set out for him by the club or by his family or by him. Yeah.
Is it appropriate to talk about our personal drinking or no? That's not appropriate.
We can if you like.
We can if you like. I don't mind.
No, we don't need to. Do we need to? Maybe next week.
Tune in next week for
the drunken drunken weekend wrap up.
The drunken weekend wrap up.
We'll do next week's a power hour. We're going to do a shot every minute that the show's live.
I love power
hour.
Hope's
already got the fridge. I mean,
90s music power hour. That was my
game. There you go.
90s music power hour.
I can crack open the beers from my beer fridge.
So. Yeah. My fridge is right there. I mean,
I need to get better by next week, man. Like I'm pretty sure I got a sinus infection.
Yeah, I was going to say your nose is looking a lot redder than it did yesterday.
It is, man. Like, I just can't shake it, whatever it is. So I'm going to have to go see the quack.
Oh.
And last thing I have from English football is on the BBC, there was an interesting audio error. There was porn playing in the background behind Danny Murphy and Alan Shearer reporting on a match. Just Gary
Lineker, yeah.
Anyways, I don't really know.
Didn't they tried to say it was somebody hacked the network or something like that? They tried to.
No, it was a YouTube prank. Yeah,
it was that. If you never opened a video, someone sent you a video and you click on it, and instead of the video, it's just a really loud clip of somebody
Yeah.
screaming.
Mhm.
So the guy who set it up in the studio live streamed it on YouTube when he set it off.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it was a whole organized thing by a YouTube streamer to
You're
do
gonna
it.
have
And
to
that's why
find a clip of that. 'Cause I want to
that's
see
why
that.
Gary Lineker came out and was like, the BBC have nothing to apologize for about this because it was a prank set up on us. Like, it's not our fault that we didn't know it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's all I got from England. Let's move along to the continent. On the continent, big news out of Italy is Juventus's 15-point deduction as a result of the Plus Valenza case. That's we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. Capital gains violation from the pandemic. They changed the books, etc. In Agnelli's farewell address, that's I believe the chair, he said, European football is in need of reform. In the years to come, the Premier League will attract all the talent, marginalizing all the other leagues. A lot of TV money, obviously, in England, etc. General, any comments about this before we get into Serie A roundup?
But the only thing I'm going to say is it's shocking that he said that. According, they're one of the 3 teams that are still in the Super League, League thing. So he's right. The Premier League is going to have all the money, but that's make your league more marketable. Football's a global sport. People want to see it. We've got Michael in America, right? Bayern Munich fan. Yeah. Make it more global. It's up to them to do it as a league, not Juventus cook their books because they can't pay the wages that they said they would to certain players.
Well, I think they're doing the right thing though in terms of making the league more marketable. I mean, they have that deal with Paramount, but they need to come up with some sort of streaming on TV, not a streaming service. Yeah. That's one of the reasons the Premier League is picked up in the United States is that it's streamed on TV. You can just turn the TV on and watch it. You don't have to pay an extra £5 or whatever to watch it. So as far as the Juventus thing goes, it's hard because I haven't looked at the whole case yet. I have it downloaded, but I haven't read through the whole case files yet because it's like 180 something pages.
And it's in Italian.
Yeah. And Google Translate's going to give me a fit. But
Chat GPT.
My initial reaction was that it's not enough because Juventus, this is what the 3rd major scandal that Juventus has had in the last decade. And the crazy thing is that it's still early enough in the season where they could still secure Champions League football if they played out. Not to mention they're still in the Italian Cup, so they could still win that and still go on to play European football in the Europa League. So it's kind of like a slap on the wrist. There's no suspension for transfers. There's no cut out from European football, so they still have a chance to bring in money that they're going to lose on this whole deal. It kind of just shows that in Italy you can do what you want as long as you have the right connections. We're just going to make a public deal of it and then move on. Like I'm calling for them, like back when they got relegated to League or Serie B, that was a huge thing, you know, and that could cripple you. And that's kind of what this team needs.
2006, that was.
Yeah, really good documentary on Netflix.
It was only 16 years ago, and they're still getting this kind of crap going on, and there's still no serious adjudication against the directors of this team.
They're going to appeal. They've said they're going to appeal it strongly, and there's bans in from football jobs in Italy so far, but they're looking to push it to UEFA as well, right?
And FIFA, globally.
They need to. Like they do. I don't think Juve shouldn't be in the Champions League or the Conference League or any other league, you know, because let's be honest, Juve gets into the Conference League and that's a free trophy. That's a free trophy for them. Which
the
is
Tottenham managing director is one of the people indicted in the ban, which I thought was pretty funny. But whatever.
Patrici.
It's just funny for me, I guess.
But if somebody that enjoys Serie A, like it throws that league into a state of it doesn't matter what you do because you know you're still going to be a top dog, and that's how it is. There's no until there's serious movement or they force that team to be sold. Juve's going to do it again, and in another 5 years we'll have another case against them, and then another 5 years after that there'll be another case against them. So it's a bunch of criminals that are running the organization. And as you said, that documentary on when they got demoted, it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a different story. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they went from what, third to 11th.
I will go over it in the Serie A roundup.
Yeah, well, it's not finished, right? They could still incur further penalties, but this is just the beginning. The 15 points have been incurred. People have been banned, like Agnelli's been banned for 2.5 years, Nedved for 9 months or something, and the other guy for something.
I'd love to see, because of all this, I just have this vision that the Juventus boardroom is like a scene from like an Italian mafia movie all the time.
Just clouds of smoke along the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pile of cocaine in the corner. Just help yourself.
Sure.
Yeah. 2 massive dudes as you walk in the door, just making sure you
Jesse Lingard, like trying to steal a line of coke.
Somebody's mom is bringing spaghetti into the office.
Definitely. It just, you know what I mean? I just envisage it like that. Like it's just like total mafia job, you know?
Well, the interesting thing was, and it didn't shed too much light on it, but Chiellini did a really intense interview when he came to LA about how different the club is, and some of the things that he was saying, I was like, that doesn't sound like something a normal club would do for players, and like some of the things that they were taking care of and some of the extra expenditures that you would get. And I was just like, that's weird. So I would, like you said, the case isn't done yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if this gets swept under the rug and UEFA gets another massive boost of money from somewhere all of a sudden. So
I wonder if we'll hear around what transfers it actually affected.
You'd have to think Ronaldo was one of them, right?
Well, I think Ronaldo was obviously the main one with how much they're paying wages, but even after, is it going to affect like Vlahovic, like the more recent transfers they've done after Ronaldo left? And is it going to affect those sorts of things? Are they going to have a fire sale? It's going to be really interesting of play. Like,
Morata.
Did it affect Morata, Bentancur and Kulusevski going to Spurs? Was that all part of? Did they cook the book saying they got a bit more money from those loan deals to permanent deals and things like that? It's going to be really interesting what comes out of it. Netflix will have a documentary in a couple of years. It'll be great. So.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what develops from the Juventus situation. With that, let's get into a little Serie A roundup with Milo.
Sure. Yeah. So leading with Juve. A really good game followed the ban, or not the ban, the docking of the points, I should say, against Atalanta, who've been really good this season anyway. A 3-3 draw. Lookman, who's been really impressive for Atalanta this year. I feel like some clubs might be taking a look at him in the summer, but yeah, I don't know how happy he is. He gave him the lead. Juve equalized through a Di Maria pen. Then Milic gave Juve the lead. Atalanta equalized early in the second to make it 2-2. Then Lookman scored again, and then Danilo drilled a low free kick in to make it 3-3. So it was a really good game. And Atalanta in 5th, 2 points behind Roma. Juve in 10th after the debacle that is their point stocking.
Oof.
So yeah, they've fallen a long way. Really, their poor start to the season, if they hadn't have gone on that run, they'd have been in even worse trouble because they went on that really, really great sort of 8-9 game run. So,
quick question, Milo. You said they've dropped down to 10th. What's the point difference to get back into the Champions League spots?
The points difference, as Mykal said,
11.
I have it
11.
right here as well.
11.
Yeah.
11 points. Yeah.
11 points. Yeah.
Which they're tied with. They're tied with 3 teams right now on 23, and then there's only. They win 2 games, they're back up into 7th.
Yeah,
like that middle of the table in Serie A is so tight.
It's very tight in there right now. Like other than Napoli, so Napoli 2-0 win over Salernitana. They actually had a decent start, but then Napoli sort of took it over. Di Lorenzo made it 1-0, and then Osimhen scoring again. He's in a pretty rich vein of form as well. Napoli are on 50 points. They're 13 ahead of Milan. You know, I because of how I feel about Arsenal, can I say that I do think Napoli are going to win?
That's code. Arsenal are going to win, by the way. That's code.
Said it. I'm just saying, I think Napoli have got this one in the bag. Although Milan, who are in second, they play Lazio tomorrow or today, depending on your time zone.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow for me. So that could be a good game as well. Spezia 0, Roma 2. Spezia defender Nketiah obviously left for Arsenal this weekend, and they struggled defensively. Coincidence? I'm just kidding. I don't know if it's a coincidence at all. I'd be lying if I said I watched Spezia games. Because, I don't. The informed Paulo Dybala set up El Shaarawy for Roma's opener. And then Tammy Abraham with a nice solo goal on 48 minutes for the 2-0 win. They're fourth in the table, tied with Inter on 37. It is, as Michael said, it's pretty tight from second down to about eighth. It's pretty tight in there. Inter losing 1-0 at the San Siro to Empoli. That was the shock of the weekend. But they're still third. They're 1 point behind EC. A red card for a Skriniar, or Skriniar, however you say his name.
Who, by the way, has said that he's not going to sign a contract yet. He wants to go out of Italy.
Yeah.
Spurs.
He got a second yellow, and that was that. So and Lazio versus Milan tomorrow. That's about it for Serie A this weekend.
Ooh, that'll be good.
I mean, the big news was undoubtedly the Juve stuff.
Yeah. They just keep getting in trouble.
It's such an exciting league, though. Every time I talk to somebody about football, this is, I mean, obviously the Premier League is top dog, but Serie A right now is just so exciting to watch.
Yeah. Moving on to La Liga. Barcelona played Getafe this weekend. Nearly won 1-0. Barcelona are now on a 6-game winning streak. They're top of the league. Pedri goal assisted by Rafinha. No Lewandowski for this. He's still serving his ban. I believe it's a ban. Barca, honestly, it was a pretty even game. Getafe created a lot of chances on the break. Ter Stegen made some big saves. Barca had 6-7 shots. Getafe 6. Barca obviously had the possession, but a lot of counterattacks. Pretty tight game, but they got the 3 points. Real Madrid played Athletic Bilbao. Madrid won 2-0. Benzema with the beautiful weak foot, left foot volley. Difficult technique. If you watch it, it's almost like in like eFootball or FIFA when people score from like they're facing away from the goal and they do a 360 shot or like a 180 degree shot, and you're like, this is rigged, like how is that going in? How is he getting on target? That's the kind of goal it was. Oh, by the way, about Getafe, interesting. They've only conceded 1 goal at home in the league, but they're relegation battlers, so difficult to beat. Anyways, but yeah, Benzema scored a beautiful weak foot volley, assisted by Asensio, kind of, and then Cruz with a 90th minute goal. But it was a very tight game for most of the game at 1-0. Nacho started instead of Carvajal at right back. That's a position that Madrid are probably going to have to be strengthening in the summer. There's rumors of Hakimi going back to Madrid. Nico Williams looks really good. He's, Atletico Bilbao have a big tradition of keeping their players there for like their entire life until they die. But I think Aymeric Laporte, that went to City, was the kind of biggest signing I remember in recent history that left Spain from Bilbao. But Nico Williams looks really good. He could have scored in the 70th minute. Bilbao almost equalized in the 76th minute. Madrid very lucky with an offside call there. Madrid started with interesting midfield of Camavinga, Dani Ceballos, and Valverde. So no Modric, no Cruz, and I think Tchouameni's still injured, but they still held off to win 2-0 and stay within 3 points of Barcelona at the top of the table. Barcelona and Madrid have a game in hand in relation to the rest of the league. Third place, Sociedad won 2-0 away to Vallecano. They're 3 points behind Madrid. And this week we got a big week for Sociedad. They have Barcelona in the Copa del Rey, I believe either Wednesday or Thursday, and then next Sunday versus Madrid, where they could possibly get level 1 points with them with the win. Atletico and Villarreal both picking up wins as well. They're even on 31. That's 4th and 5th place. And yeah, other Copa del Rey matches, like I said, Barca Sociedad is Wednesday. Osasuna Sevilla out of the relegation zone. And Thursday we have Valencia Bilbao and Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid on Thursday as well. So those will be some nice Copa del Rey games coming up. But yeah, biggest game of the weekend is going to be Madrid versus Sociedad on Sunday for La Liga. We don't have Hoff, so we can't do too much Bundesliga talk. Maybe Michael, you could talk to us about Bayern's game. I did write down Giovanni Reina. He scored a beautiful goal. I don't know if you guys saw that volley. Giovanni Reina scored a beautiful goal. Do you have any? You want to talk anything about Bayern? They did sign Jan Sommer officially.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought the summer signing is great because obviously Neuer is out for the season after his skiing accident, which is incredible that you'd be. Anyways, but it was also kind of funny because basically all my Discord was like, well, if you can't beat him, sign him, because anybody that watches Bundesliga knows Jan Sommer's been Bayern's kryptonite for as long as he's been in the league. So great signing, and I think he also could stay with us for a long stretch as well, because Neuer hinting at retirement at the end of the season anyways. I mean, Sommer's one of the most underrated keepers in the world, in my opinion, and he shows that when he plays out for Switzerland. So, but it's a tough game against Leipzig. A very frustrating game, I think, for both parties. Leipzig involved, they had quite a few chances. A 1-1 draw was probably the best that both teams could have gotten out of it, because it was not good finishing on either part. I think Choupo-Moting's kind of coming back to earth in the form that he originally was. He had like a really nice stretch where he looked like that promising striker that everybody always thought he would be, and then now he's kind of coming back down to earth. He did score, but he also squandered a couple chances that, if Lewandowski would have scored him, and that's the standard that we still hold people to. So we're still missing a lot of healthy components. So, but we've rebounded from that rough start we had at the early point of the season. So I think Bayern are gonna fly back to the top, and that'll be the end of it. So
they're what, 5 points top right now or something?
5 points ahead of Frankfurt. Yeah. So Union Berlin are kind of, I think their Cinderella story is coming to an end. So that's the team. When I'm not watching Bayern, I usually watch them, because their story at the beginning of the year was just so exciting, and now it's, I think, coming down to earth. So
yeah, interesting they didn't go for a striker in January.
There was a lot of rumors, but I think Oliver Kahn doesn't want to spend a bunch of money in mid-season. He's talked about it a couple times. He doesn't believe that January signings are somebody that really is going to come in and win you the league. So, and Bayern's kind of had that stigma for a long time too. So, I think this summer though we'll probably see. I anticipate a big number 9, and then probably a younger number 9 to come in behind him. So,
okay, nice. Other little things I had written here, forgot to mention during La Liga segment, Memphis Depay has gone to Atletico Madrid, and Yannick Carrasco has gone to Barca, the other way from Atleti. Besiktas complete the signing of Abu Bakar, so that's the 3-way deal complete with the great Al Nassr, Manchester United, and Besiktas. That kind of tells you where we are, financially. Anyways, Hakimi has won the Best Arab Sportsman of the Year award. And in typical fashion, as we saw in the World Cup, he accepted the award with his mother on stage. If there's one takeaway, I also listened to a podcast this week, but there's this idea that in Islam they don't respect women or something like this, But we've seen. I hope that never really that's a bad stereotype, and I think we should. I think the Moroccan team showed that, and I don't know. Anyways, I think they do for the most part. Anyways, we don't got to get into that. Also, I've written here, Zlatan will assume a club ambassador role for Milan this summer. He's currently recovering from a knee surgery from last summer. then again, he could be available as a sub for the second leg versus Spurs in the Champions League.
Did he interview for that job, or did he just tell them that's what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just.
It wasn't even a job before then. He just created it himself.
Yeah.
They're probably like, fuck, we can't get rid of this ego.
There was one.
He must be unbearable to be around every day. Sorry.
You know, Zlatan is as far as like physical fitness for a 41-year-old, he's a great role model. Just as Ronaldo is, Thiago Silva.
I feel like you're taking a dig at me there because we're the same age, and Zlatan is definitely in better shape than me.
That's a pretty big personality to have around the place, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Rafael Leao's watching him. Like, think about Rashford. Rashford got to train around him for, you know.
I think it does.
There was a player that played for the Timbers who was on the Galaxy when Zlatan was there, and he said Zlatan is very much like a wrestling personality. It's like in the clubhouse, on the training ground, everything like that. He's a normal guy, and he treats you like a normal person. But the minute somebody turns the camera on or somebody has a notepad in front of him, Zlatan comes out. You know what I mean? So I would love to see that side of him, and I think that's the only side that you'll ever see is if you're a player or a manager of his. Yeah. But I think the minute he gets that persona, is it does what it needs to, you know?
It's a good way to insulate himself from the mental bullshit that comes with all that negative press and all that stuff.
Rashford spoke very highly of him at United, saying he did learn a lot from him on the pitch and movement and technique and stuff like that. So I think you're right. I think Milo's right in terms of it's a good way to hide from the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
If that's what everyone thinks, if the media know you're getting that as Zlatan, they can expect it. So
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him more involved. Like I think this role with AC Milan could be a huge gateway to him having a big impact at some club somewhere.
Milo is the white Lukaku. Love that.
Yeah,
I don't laugh at many things extreme posts, but that's a good one.
One thing I did pick up from chat that I starred for later was, and I think Param has left, but he mentioned these contracts, right? These UEFA's planning to impose a cap. Cap. Who does that remind you of? My British friends. An American term, cap.
I'm okay with that, actually. I wrote an article years and years ago for a mate's website when the internet was in the early stages, and I used to do a bit more writing back then. What are you laughing about?
I'm just imagining you have to unplug the phone, plug the modem in, get the dial up, upload the document, and then plug the phone back in. Because I had to do that. That's what I used to do.
We had one of those boxes that had modem and internet.
You made it sound so long ago.
I was thinking like you had time to turn the computer on and then finish writing your article.
No. Yeah. Anyway, I wrote this thing about it years ago that I think there's a certain inevitability to it, and I think that once the oil money, I'm including Abramovich in that, by the way. He was oil, right? Wasn't he? Was he oil?
Wow, he was dodgy Russian dealings.
Well, of course he was.
It was oil, but
oil.
How they made the oil.
Yeah. So refinery stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of deal. Anyway,
shipping containers.
Yeah, like once that happened and the money, again, it was not just the money they were spending, but the wages they were handing out and all that good stuff, right? Like at some point, it would make sense for that to come in. I'm not opposed to that.
I'm not opposed against the cap, by the way, either from a British point of view. I think.
Yeah, I don't think trades will be a thing. I don't think that drafts and playoffs and stuff like that will be a thing.
I think it's one of two options, right? The one option is what the world is currently in, that players' contracts are going to continue to get more expensive and more expensive and more expensive, and clubs are going to get priced out of players more often and more often. Or you put in some sort of cap issue, and then you have a more competitive ground. I don't know what's the best option yet, but I know from an American standpoint in the MLS, what the cap does here for us has been huge. I mean, no matter who your owner is, you could have Bill Gates as your owner, or you could have Joe Schmo as your owner. Everybody can spend the same amount of money. It doesn't matter. And that's one of the reasons that we have a different champion every year, So maybe there's some truth to it.
Yeah, or like Socko says, how about we go back in 3 years and enforce FIFA fair play, or even make it, more sensible FIFA fair play rules. Like, it's just, obviously there's too many loopholes, too many ways around it.
It's really interesting, right? Because Socko's other comment around player power, and they can just get to the end of their contract. If you say you can only give a maximum of 5 years as a contract, most clubs to get around, as we're seeing with Chelsea, probably going forward, will give 5-year contracts, and I reckon we'll see more players if there's no salary cap. Yeah, but I think if they enforce a 5-year, if they enforce a 5-year cap for contracts, I think we'll then see more players see out their contracts and move on a free, which gives clubs more money to spend on wages because they'll be spending less in transfer fees.
I saw the initial proposition was 5 years, but clubs could still do clauses to add additional options. So if they wanted to do I think it was an additional clause up to 2 years, but it's club option, not player option. So in theory, like you could still sign a player for 7 years.
Yeah.
But so I think then that comes down to structuring how the contract would work, whether it's an even money across all 5 years and then you get an additional 2 years, or if it's a gradual increase on your salary and then you get the additional 2 years. So it's one of those like you said, loopholes where yes, your salary is 10 million a year, but we're also going to pay for your family's house every year, your family's food every year, but that's all off the books, so don't worry about that. But your salary is 10 million a year.
It's like college basketball or college football.
That's what happened with Inter Miami, and they got that whole situation was they proposed to the MLS, this is what Matuidi's salary is, but they were paying his travel, his additional bonuses for all this, and that was all off the books because it was external stuff. Like, if you do this appearance, it was like, if you do a club's shirt signing, we'll give you $1 million bonus, but that wasn't attributed into his salary, kind of stuff. So
it'll be all that thing on Football Manager when you're losing loads of money and you have to go into expenditure. It's just under other. And you got like 3 million out in other. You're like, what the hell is other?
Yeah.
The other thing you're seeing is with Ten Hag, not to bring it back to Ten Hag, but I'm going to Ten Hag and Arteta. They're trying to instill a kind of self-imposed salary cap as well. They don't want players making 3 times as much as the next guy behind him type of thing, right? De Gea's they're having De Gea renegotiate his contract. Obviously, maybe if, clubs like Arsenal, clubs like United do that, other clubs will follow suit and be like, this is the status quo in England. It's just better for everyone in general type of thing.
We had a cap under Wenger, and then it had to get broken for us to bring in, I think it was the Ozil deal was the first one of the first players to be over that cap instilled by him, and then Alexis Sanchez as well, I think, was over it. But even then, for the next deal, they were like, we're not matching any ridiculous offers that come in.
Yeah, I think United, it's all a bit of smoke and mirrors, to be honest. I think they're basically saying to De Gea, if you want to stay, we're not going to pay you that much. And I think they're going to get rid of De Gea and bring in someone else. Because you can't say to De Gea, and we're going to enforce this salary cap when you've got Casemiro there who's on 100 grand more than what De Gea will be on. And De Gea will be fully in his rights to then be like, all right, you've got to now give a wage reduction to Casemiro, for example. It's a very tough situation to implement that when you already have people at the club who are going to be earning more than the inflicted cap from the club.
Well, do you think that also then pushes players away? Like, man,
100%.
You have we'll just throw a number out there. You have a $300 million a year salary cap, which is probably what the highest paid is right now. Now you have, Man City's trying to go sign Haaland in the future now. Well, no, I already know you have only $10 million a year to spend. So I'm just going to go to Saudi Arabia and get that Ronaldo money, Yeah.
It's like any club, right? If any club right now, if Mbappe said to any club in the world, I'll sign for you on a free transfer, but you have to pay me
200 million a year.
Double what your highest earner's currently on, they'll probably go, yeah, all right, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
And make me CEO.
That's true.
Which is why I think UEFA has to do it, right? It has to be a UEFA-wide thing. But then you still have the teams that aren't in UEFA, the Saudi Arabias, the China leagues, and who's going to police them? and who's going to prevent them from being the next Oscar, the next Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing I actually had in my notes, I missed it, is Al Nassr played PSG in a friendly. Cristiano Ronaldo making headlines once again with the captain's armband, both for Al Nassr. I think he made his debut for the club. But before that, in this friendly against PSG, where Messi, Neymar, all the stars were out. I don't know if you guys know who this is, but anyone who knows Bollywood would know this. Amitabh Bachchan was in attendance. Do you guys know who that is by any chance? He's the most famous Bollywood Indian actor. He's like our Regis. He did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Kaun banega crorepati banega. So he was like our Regis Philbin type of guy. Bigger than Regis Philbin, obviously, but he was in attendance, and just the image of seeing him there, when the players walk out, gave me the idea that the Saudi league or some Middle Eastern league could provide a stepping stone for less developed football countries to develop their football players, like India or like other nations in the Middle East. It could Qatar, right? It could become the premier league for those nations. Teams in Africa where we don't really know them very well could their players could funnel into Saudi Arabia. The talent from these areas could kind of come together in Saudi Arabia, and it could be a potential long-term vision for the Saudi league. I don't know if that's in their plan, but there's a massive market, Middle East areas, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, even Australia. I know they have their own league and it's pretty self-sufficient, but if they can get a hub over there, I don't know what the TV goes.
My thing about that is that I think if there's a talent that is in Africa, Australia, whatever, that will go to the Saudi Arabian league and try and be part of this project, and they're good enough, and that player is good enough to do that, the chances are they've already been snapped up by a Premier League or a European club as part of
a good scout.
Yeah,
right. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that Saudi Arabia is going to take over the Premier League, but it's like
but
it could be like the Dutch league, it could be like the Portuguese league, it could be like lower divisions of French league.
I can't see it myself.
I
can't
we
talked
see
about
it
this last week a bit, didn't we? As well?
Yeah, the Dutch and the French league have that heritage of football where young players are coming through in that country. And I think anyone that's a standout player in Africa, in even the African league, if they haven't been picked up by someone else, is scouted to go and play in an academy in Europe somewhere already. Not necessarily in the Premier League. It could be Bayern.
More likely to be French or Dutch, to be honest.
No.
Yeah. And that's the only thing I have about it.
Then you have the same standpoint as the Chinese Super League is basically the same thing. The same amount of money being thrown around, same kind of team stature of we're just going to bring players in.
I wonder if its geographic location hinders it. I feel like Middle East. I don't know what the time zone for Middle East is. Is it?
It's big. It's all over the place.
Well, like for example, like the Red Sea, or is it the Red Sea? I don't know.
I'm all for them making their league better for them. I just can't ever see it becoming a global.
No.
Well, would you call the Dutch league a global whatever, wherever you're going with that?
I think most people know Ajax, maybe.
Yeah, right.
But that would be it.
That's European football. Like they cannot compete with European football, I don't think. But being like like MLS, there've been a couple. It's been around for a long time, but now we're seeing
just be a comedy league. No, I'm just kidding.
I think I get your point, right? Because it's sort of, I'm remembering now that, because I thought I'd never really heard of Al Nassr until Cristiano Ronaldo went there. I'd never heard of FC Sydney or whoever it was until Del Piero moved there. I'd never heard of some of these.
I hadn't heard of Grampus 8 till Gary Lineker went there.
Well, and there you go, right? So it does. Big names going over do increase the profile of those clubs, but then I think that's very selfish about the clubs. They're not doing it for the league, are they? They want to.
I think it's great for them. Agenda. Like, Lord knows, I would love the MLS to be better. I live in North America. I would love it to be a better product, right?
You live in Canada.
Is that not in North America?
Yeah, well, technicalities.
It is in my
Yeah.
book, Milo. Yeah.
I mean, it is. I'm pretty sure last time I looked at the globe, it is. But anyway,
It is.
Yeah, and my point being, I wish the product was better, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
I
getting
just
better.
it is, but again, I just don't think it'll ever get to that level.
The point is it could become a feeder. Like with what's the guy Almiron, right? And there's another guy that just moved.
Alfonso Davies came from Vancouver.
Alfonso Davies, the guy who just went to Villa, just the same way. And the guy who went to Villa was Colombian. Almiron is Paraguayan. Just like that. Maybe someone from the Saudi League, me being of Indian heritage, someone from India goes to Saudi Arabian League, because I saw Amitabh Bachchan there, who's the biggest Bollywood connect, and there's a lot of Indians in Qatar. That's what I learned from the Qatar World Cup. And if there's a lot of Indians there, I'm sure there could be a lot of Indians in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if that's a fact, but it's a better, because I don't see any type of development in India happening. I think Barcelona tried to set up academy there in a couple, like 10, 15 years ago. Nothing really came of that, but that's my point, right? Almiron Paraguayan through MLS into Europe. Maybe, some Indian dude, some Pakistani dude, some Nepal dude goes to Saudi Arabia, where he's a little more culturally, it's not as big of a shock. People maybe speak language. There's maybe he's Muslim, goes to Saudi Arabia, plays, and maybe, moves to Europe somehow.
So my question for you though is what, because Davies coming from Nigeria to Canada to Bayern, Almiron going from Paraguay to MLS to England. What's the connection you're trying to make with the Saudi league? Like, are you trying to just build them up as a feeder league? Like, you get what I'm saying? Because like those players still came from other places. They didn't come from the US.
The only thing that's sparking this thought is seeing the biggest Bollywood actor of all time at that game. That's it. The fact that he was there for a reason. I'm sure he was paid to be there.
Was it not just like
attract eyes of Indians to that game? In my opinion,
was it not just like a Middle Eastern All-Star game kind of thing?
Yeah,
it was.
I was gonna say, isn't it like just kind of like when the NBA goes to Paris and all the superstars show up just because they want to see superstars play? Could that not be a thing? Like,
I think what Cart's trying to, sorry, Cart, if I'm putting words in your mouth. I think what you're saying is it's because he is there, that is bringing a whole new audience from India just because he's there. Whereas in Europe, if the NBA All-Stars go out and David Beckham goes and attends, well, we're already football fans, and basketball fans will know who David Beckham is. Whereas there might be loads of people in India that weren't really sure about football because it's not the number one sport. It's not really a category like that. And having that person there brings that interest, and then players think, Saudi Arabia is not too different from India. I could move there. But
yeah, absolutely. And this is the time to push the Saudi Arabian league, right? They signed Ronaldo. They got to go hard, just build it up, get as much eyes on the league, awareness, and I'm completely naive to what else Saudi Arabian league is doing. I'm sure it's not just, let's sign Ronaldo and hope the league grows. I'm sure they're doing things on a grassroots level. I would guess. I don't think it's as, I don't know. None of us know. Let's be honest. None of us know.
Can you go there and find out?
Yeah, I'll try.
Well, there was that rumor that their number one rival, I forget what their Al Hilal or whatever their the number one rival is. They were going to sign. They were going to offer Messi a double what Ronaldo's deal was because they wanted to bring the Ronaldo Messi rivalry to. Now
it's
that
not
signing would prove right. The bromance, whatever you.
I can't. It's done. It's over. Irrelevant.
That's the words that they wanted to bring.
Irrelevant. Even if they revive that in that league, it will still be irrelevant to actual world football.
But that's the selling point. It's Messi Ronaldo. Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
Like your point earlier with click my article versus this guy's article.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
It's irrelevant to us that are interested in the very best high level football.
But
kids aren't.
Let me flip this on its head. In Singapore, there's probably not many people that watch ice hockey in Singapore. I'm probably one of the very handful of people that do it. But if somehow they got Conor McDavid at the end of his career and I don't know, a bit,
of course it would help.
And they
Of
came
course.
here, that would boost ice hockey. In that
Of course it would, but I still think it would be a very temporary boost. I think
100%.
whether or not if Messi doesn't go there, once Ronaldo does call it a day, and that might only be when his fucking leg falls off.
It was the same thing when Beckham came to LA, though. It's a temporary boost to the MLS.
It
More stars came.
It wasn't. Yeah, I just don't see Ronaldo going to that league as having anywhere near the impact that Beckham going to the MLS had. I just don't see it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'd be gobsmacked.
I think it's impossible from a Western perspective to see it. Yeah, I think
maybe
it's impossible. That's what I'm saying. Like just the fact that Amitabh Bachchan was there. This is a famous Bollywood actor. The fact that he was there, like it's like he's bigger than Will Ferrell in relativity. But like Will Ferrell got involved with LAFC, right? He's a part owner, etc. He gets eyes on the thing, Magic Johnson. Just the fact that guy from India, famous guy from India was there makes me feel like that's the audience they're trying to attract. Like MLS gets USA, Saudi Arabia gets the entire Middle East, not us, not you, me, Milo, or any of us. We're not the target audience here. It's the Middle East, Greater Africa, and I'm guessing India because that dude was there. And India's Super League, India's Premier League is kind of weak. It's not making the same ripples that Saudi Arabian league is. Anyways, yeah, interesting stuff. It's a positive, hopeful look for football.
Don't they have to compete against the Chinese Super League and the Korean League and the Asian Champions League or whatever?
No, it's in the Champions League maybe, but in terms of time zones, it's well different to India and Saudi Arabia. It's like 8 hours. So yeah, but Champions League, I think they probably do because I don't think they have a Middle Eastern Champions League, do they? I think they have it's just the Asia Champions League.
Asia, ASL or ACL or whatever.
There you guys go. He's just the biggest. Okay, he's the biggest. 80 years old, 6'1", 185 centimeters. Been married since 1973. I want to see how many films he's made, just so you guys know.
6'1" in freedom units. Okay.
Yeah, he's off the.
He's 80 years old.
He doesn't look 80 years old.
Yeah, I mean they got a lot of they can harvest a lot of stem cells in India. I tell you, there's a lot of no.
He looks like Al Pacino almost in that photo in that Wikipedia page he sent.
He's like 3 times. Think Al Pacino, but like 5 times bigger.
Extreme. We can't do the network save because Hoff had a plumbing issue. So
unless he gives up his Everton job to Michael for an hour.
I don't want Everton. I won't touch it with
yeah, see, Stefan knows.
I actually have to go to because I got to phone my brother back. My brother called me.
We're way over time. Do you want to do it? Let's do a Rapido Fire.
Yeah, we can do one of those if you want.
Oh, do you want? Okay.
Yeah. I'm down. That'll be fun because it's always funny, especially with the names that I'm going to give you. It's going to be even better.
Okay.
So for those that don't know, we haven't done it for a few weeks.
Oh, my kid's awake.
That's the soundtrack to my house too. in stereo, I have one in the left, one in the right. So for those that don't know, we've done a rapid fire quiz before. We haven't done it for a few weeks. So basically, instead of a buzzer, the guys are going to have a safe word that they have to say before they get to answer, and whoever I hear first.
Oh God.
Input delay. I mean, who knows whether Cartwheel will have motel input delay? I just don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Michael, have you done the rapid fire one or no?
No, I've only done the.
Okay.
So
basically, if you think you know the answer, and these are pretty rapid fire. I mean, it's not like not going holding the
Cart delays, doesn't he? Cart takes 30 seconds an answer.
He's like, yeah. He does all that.
I'm quick. Hold on.
You know what it is? Yes. It's gamesmanship. It's something he loves.
Oh, shithousery, yeah. Shithousery.
I'll
He's
take more
the,
than 6 seconds on the goal kick. You
he's
know?
the Newcastle United of quiz answerers. I'm just kidding. That was one game. They did a great job.
Let me
All right,
minimize
so-
the chat real quick.
Cart, your name tonight to answer is Saka.
Oh,
So you can say Saka or Bukayo, whatever
Sorry.
you prefer.
Sorry.
okay. Saka.
Cultured, yours is Xhaka.
Oh, what? This is
Or
going to be
you can
too
say-
complicated.
Or you can say Granite if
I
you
might
like.
go granite. Yeah.
It's up to you. And Michael, you're going to have Eddie.
Okay.
You're going to have Eddie. So they're all 2 syllables. I tried to even it out.
Okay.
You know, I was going to give Cultured Martinelli, but I thought that was a bit harsh.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit worried about the
Saka,
Xhaka,
Xhaka.
Saka.
I'm not. It just means that Cartwheel's going to shout Xhaka. That's all that it means.
I'll do Bukayo.
Okay. So that's
Whatever
my
you
safe
prefer.
word, right? That's when I yell that out when I know the answer.
Safe word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
what I
really a
said.
safe word. Yeah, I don't know why I called it that.
What did you say?
He said
If
safe word.
Milo
earlier,
gets a
that's why I
bit
was
too
like,
sexually active, you've got to shout Eddie and Nketiah.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Other popular safe words. No, I'm just kidding.
Boring. No, never mind.
It takes me
It
back
was
to
a
that,
joke.
that
Pineapple.
movie Euro Trip where he's trying to read the word off on this. He's like,
All right. So tonight's questions are the 2018 and the 2019 Premier League season.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Okay. So
Okay.
fairly recent ish.
Can we? Okay.
Go on, what you can say.
I was gonna say if we could do a general recap who won the Premier League. 'cause that was,
give him
No.
time to pull the Wikipedia page.
okay, we can't do that. We can't do that. Okay.
Okay. All right, here we go. Yeah, so Saka, Xhaka, and Eddie, but in whatever way you want. I'm listening to the tone of your voices, by the way, not the names, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've got to listen for the first noise, you know? All right. Which newly promoted team did Man City beat 5-0 away from home in
Granite.
September? Culture?
Norwich.
No.
Bukayo.
Car?
West Brom.
No. Over to Michael by default, or Eddie, I should say.
Southampton.
No, it's Cardiff City.
Oh.
All right. Cardiff City, Fulham, and Wolves replaced which 3 relegated sides? Now, you can just give me one of the sides. That's fine.
Wait,
So
can
you've
you
got-
say the team one more time?
There's 3 possible answers. That's all. Whoever gets one first wins. So Cardiff, Fulham, and Wolves replaced which 3 relegated sides for that season?
Bukayo.
Go on.
Norwich.
No.
Eddie
Eddie?
was that was Leeds.
No.
Oh.
Who came up? Sorry. Fulham.
Cardiff, Fulham, and Wolves. The questions get easier. Don't worry.
Granite.
Go on.
West Brom.
Correct.
Oh,
That's a good one.
So the answers were West Brom, Swansea, and Stoke.
Swansea. Damn.
Yeah.
Swansea.
It was kind of famous because Cardiff replaced Swansea. It was a big deal
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
time. All right. Which Premier League club play their home games at Selhurst Park?
Granite.
Oh, I'm going to
I
have to
didn't
go
say
with
anything.
Granite because
I didn't say
Cartwheel
anything.
said bloop, bloop.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Ah.
Sorry, that was really funny. Which Spanish manager replaced Arsene Wenger at Arsenal?
But Bukayo.
Yes,
Emery.
Car-
Emery.
Emery is Sports Pacer sponsored the shirts of which Premier League club?
Who?
Oh,
Sport Pacer,
Bukayo.
sorry. Go on.
Everton.
Everton is correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pesa.
Yeah, Sport Pacer, yeah.
Pesa.
Maurizio Sarri replaced which fellow countryman in charge of
Bukayo.
Chelsea? Cartwheel?
Conte.
Correct. He's on a roll.
Fire.
He's on
He's
a roll.
flying, yeah.
I had to comprehend the question completely.
Brazilian forward Richarlison got off to a great
Granite.
start at Everton. You don't know where I'm going with this.
Just let him go. Let him answer.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on then, Granite.
Watford.
It's correct.
Oh,
Who did they sign him from was going to be
Yeah.
the question.
How did you know
Oh
that?
my god.
Oh my goodness.
Get in.
Nice one. Wait, what was
All
the
right.
question? Where did they sign him?
Yeah,
Who they
which
signed
club
him
did he leave to join Everton?
He left Watford.
yeah.
Yeah.
He
Oh, I
did,
didn't
yeah.
know-
Yeah.
forgot that.
Which striker scored the first hat trick of the 18-19 season against Huddersfield Town?
Bukayo.
Go on.
Harry Kane?
Nope.
He probably scored late.
Eddie,
Go on.
was it Lukaku?
It was not Lukaku. It's open to Granite.
Granite.
Yes.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Incorrect. The answer was Sergio Aguero.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, yeah. Which national team does Bournemouth's Ryan Fraser play for that year? Well, and every year.
Granite.
Bukayo? I think that was
Granite.
coach.
Scotland.
Scotland is correct.
I was
I
gonna
was
say
like, I had to think about the question because you went that year. Well,
Yeah, I
every
know.
year.
I said and
I
every
know. I
year.
was like, you said yeah. You said every year. I was like, what? You switched.
I know, yeah. That was kind of my bad. I'm sorry about that. But, you got it. It's fine. Goalkeeper Kepa, I hate this name. Ariza Balaga joined Chelsea from which
Granite.
club?
Bukayo.
No.
I heard Granite.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid.
Wrong.
No.
Athletic.
Eddie.
Oh, no, I thought it was cute.
Oh,
He-
you're good.
yeah,
You're
he
good.
did-
You're
he
good.
did
You're good.
say
You're
it.
good.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
That is correct, Cut. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is correct.
Oh,
right.
Wrong athletic.
All right, we're into 2019. There's not many questions left. Michael, you need one. Here. You need one. It's all good though. It's all good. This is tough because this is your first one. Which Liverpool striker scored twice to help Liverpool overcome a 3-0 Champions League deficit against Barcelona in May 2019? Go on.
Origi.
Origi is
Oh,
correct.
nice.
There you go. He's in there. Goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga embarrassed which then Chelsea manager when he refused to be replaced?
Granite.
I heard Cart.
Yeah.
Then Sarri.
Yes, correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Which Man City defender sealed his legendary status with a 25-year cultured?
Vincent Company against Leicester.
Very
Correct.
cool.
Whoa. Okay.
Very cool.
All right.
Norwich City's Timo Pukki burst onto the scene in 2019, but his goals helped which nation qualify for
Granite.
the
Good.
I don't know who that was.
I think I got
I think-
that.
Oh, what? Get out. I said that.
Chat, who was first there? If anyone knows, tell me, please.
That's it. Live rock paper scissors.
Because I have no idea. We
all said
might
it
have to
very similar.
we might have to strike a line through that one. Bridge says it was Saka. Stocko says Yaka.
Oh my god.
I think we got to put a line through that one. Rid says Cart was first. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you happy with that?
That's fine. That's fine.
What are the scores and give
What's
it
the
to Michael?
score? Yeah. What's the
The
score?
score is 5 for Cart, 5 for Cultured, and 1 for Michael. And there's 4 questions left.
Yeah, give it to Michael.
Michael,
We all said it. We all said it.
Oh, Finland.
Finland is correct. Alrighty. Ian Robin called time on his playing career in 2019, but for which club did he make the most appearances? in
Bukayo.
his career? Go on.
Bayern.
Is correct.
I was wanting to
I keep wanting to say Bukayo. I keep forgetting my name's Eddie. I was like,
It's all
what?
right.
Eddie.
It's all right, Michael, because we had a whole thing where Cart shouted out Van Dyke when it was never even anyone's name to shout out. So
There was another one where he shouted out your Jermaine Defoe, and that was yours.
that was me. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I love Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah. Oh my god. All right. Which player became the first in history to win the Premier League, La Liga, and Serie A in 2019?
Eddie.
Yes.
It's wrong. I know it's wrong. In 2019, who was it? Laporte? American Laporte?
No.
Bukayo.
Go on.
Oh no, that's wrong.
Give me a name.
Oh, I don't know. I was gonna say Thiago. I thought he went to who's in Germany.
No.
Yeah.
Over to Granite.
I should have taken more time to think about this.
They won the Premier League, La Liga, and
Syria.
And Syria. First player in history to win.
Okay, this
Zabaleta.
No.
What? Oh, okay.
It's CR7.
Oh, it is Ronaldo.
Oh,
It's CR7.
goat.
Yeah. Extreme got it. All right, last question. And this is big. Which Man City outfield player was forced to don the gloves in their Champions League fixture against Atalanta in 2019?
Eddie.
Caillou.
Michael?
Kyle Walker.
Correct.
Yeah. Gives the win
All
to
right.
Carl, I think.
Did I get it?
So, Michael with 3, Culture with 5, Cartwheel Champ with 6.
Oh,
Yeah.
good
If
game.
I would have known, I would have left it for you. Sorry.
That's all right.
GG's,
So good.
GG's, guys.
It's all good.
GG's,
There you go.
GG's.
Good quiz. Good quiz.
That's right, Socko. He does.
That was a good
yeah.
one. That was a good one.
I've played on the other end when Cultured's done the questions, and it's really hard to like remember to say the name and not the answer until you've said the name and been picked. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like we should all have like a soundboard button.
Yeah,
Different
I think this is almost better because it creates a little confusion.
think-
You know?
thought process.
Because you say
yeah.
you remember so hard to say your name that you forget your answer that you're going to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Good
what
times.
that last one with the Serie A, and my initial response was Zlatan, and I was like, wait, no, he never won the Premier League. But I was so worried
Yeah.
about saying Eddie on time.
Very nice. Guys,
Thanks,
check
Phil.
out the links have been popping up in chat. They'll be in the YouTube comment section as well. Michael streams on Twitch, Cultured's
Mhm.
YouTube and occasional Twitch. Milo's on Twitch as well. Parma save for Milo. How did the Parma save go last night? I wasn't able to catch any.
Really much
Slow.
much better. I spent very slow. Yeah, I did January transfer window, and it
was
just
great.
went on and on. It was great fun though. I loved it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for people that like fast moving saves, might not be for them because we got into it. We have a new sound effect on the stream, which is / no cash. It's a great one. Feel free to try that out next time you buy.
I think I was there for the creation of that.
Yeah, you might
yeah.
have been, yeah. But the Parma save is going well. I actually I had to spend some time off stream doing some research and tinkering with tactics till I found something that worked better because it just wasn't happening. So now the form is much better. I'm up to like 6th in the table with about 15 games to go, I think. So we could still go for a promotion now, which is huge.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. And
I'm looking forward to the Brighton save though as well, honestly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the network save.
yeah, we'll get to that next Monday, hopefully.
I've got some big offers out there that no one knows about.
Cultured, the Academy save. How is that coming along?
It's good. It's really it's making me appreciate the game in a different light, which is good. Normally I'm going out and spending money and not caring too much about Youth Academy, but yeah, we're up to the Football League. So we're now a professional club with Guiseley all the way from the Vanarama National League North. It's taken me, I've just started season 13, I think this is now.
Oh wow.
So 13 seasons without buying anyone, just all Youth Academy products.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's really good fun. It's really, really good fun. So up to League 2 in the Football League. And last year, which was our first season in the Football League in League 2, we got to the playoff semi-final and lost. So in our first year in League 2, I got tactics. It just makes you think a lot more about tactics and player development and how you have to change your tactics. You can't just go out and buy someone to fit it.
Right.
Because obviously Youth Academy players get poached all the time. And we've just sold someone for like 125k and it's our biggest sale so far. Oh, and I'm £1 million in debt, which is good fun. So,
Michael, you're St. Pauli, right?
St. Pauli.
Yes, St. Pauli to glory is what I'm doing, trying to get them to the Champions League. We're listening to your guys' save. I feel kind of embellished with success now. But
Yeah, I've been lurking in a few of yours, and it's when you beat Arsenal, I was like, "Fuck this guy."
yeah, well, they've gotten the better of me though. We're
I know, yeah.
We've managed to win the Bundesliga. This is our 4th year in a row, which is where all the money's coming from. But Arsenal has beat me in either the quarterfinal or the semifinal 3 out of the last 4 years. The last year we lost to Barcelona in the 95th minute of extra time in the final.
I was in your stream, and didn't one of your star players get blisters 2 days before the final?
Yeah, yes.
Oh my god!
2 days before the final against Barcelona, my star center back gets blisters. Like with 2 weeks off, he had 2 weeks off to just not get hurt, and he gets blisters right before the final. So
I signed. Go on.
I was gonna say now we're actually I left off. We have PSG in the final as my next game, the last game of the season. So hopefully we can end the save, and otherwise it's another year coming.
Have you got a save lined up for after?
I haven't. No, I've been toying around with a lot of different things, but I kind of want to go back to France. I feel like I left off with Paris FC, so rebuilding somebody to take over PSG would be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I signed 2 centre backs, much needed, young, tall, excellent jumping reach, which Cultured is baffled why I'm so
not baffled. I know why you've done
it. Yeah. So anyway, 2 and they both got hernias within 3 days of each other.
I love that. Like that's probably my most annoying injury ever. Is we have a full day of rest. They're not supposed to be doing anything, and then I get an injury and they're out, or a sports hernia and they're out 4 months. I'm like, all right, sure.
Yeah, it's I'm starting to. I mean, I really enjoyed the first season as Palmer. It was a real roller coaster. The start of this second one was bugging me a lot because I felt like I'd improved the personnel. I felt more comfortable back into FM, but I just couldn't find a way to make the team do what I wanted it to do consistently. So anyway, it's good now.
Sorry, my little one's awake.
No, it's all right. My two are asleep.
Yeah, she should
my
be
two are asleep.
You're supposed to be sleeping.
I tried to start a save. I'm the England manager. Sam Allardyce is back in charge. We're going straight to the World Cup. So Ramsdale's actually going to be our number 1 keeper. Sterling is on the cusp of being cut from the England squad.
I have that same save in the background.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do my challenge was to see if I could take England further than Southgate.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah,
you know what, Cart?
Yeah,
Cart, you should do a Saudi Arabian League save. And
you absolutely
raise them to glory.
There we go.
You could be Al Nassr.
Build a nation in Saudi. Yep.
I don't know. I share the same view towards the league as you guys. I'm not that interested at all.
What about the Indian Super League? Like,
is that in the game?
I don't think it's licensed.
You can expand it. Yeah, you have to.
You can put a mod on to expand it. So.
Yeah.
I gotta say the Korean League was one of the most fun leagues I've ever done. If you want a good challenge, any of the Asian leagues where you have to have like the Chinese Super League, you have to have a Chinese goalkeeper. That's one of the league rules.
Yeah. Bonkers.
So there's anytime you find a Chinese keeper who's over 6 foot, everybody's.
I'm like, what's Yao Ming doing these days?
Yeah.
Didn't they like breed him and with some other? Okay, never mind.
There was an article about that. Funny enough, where they were like when China was doing tests on clones, they asked for his DNA. I don't know if they ever actually got it.
Wow,
Mike, he was an absolute freak of nature, right?
Well, they tried to set him up with a taller Chinese lady, I think.
Okay,
or maybe that's just his preference. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
That seems,
Anyways,
him and T-Mac.
Right.
Yeah.
Episode number 50 next week.
50 next week.
Bully's special prize.
Yeah. Here's what you could have won.
I remember we began at the end of the January transfer window last year. So yeah, we're 50s.
And I haven't missed a single episode.
You haven't, man. It's epic. Been epic.
That is epic.
This was our longest show, I think, by the way.
It was.
He's queuing it up to be out next week because he's ill.
I'm the Granite Xhaka of the wrap-up show. I think what I'd like to do for the next, just a little preview, is get more people involved, like a kind of a
you don't have to stay for 2 hours. Like
we
someone
definitely
come in
need
15 minutes.
another Arsenal fan on the show. We've never had another Arsenal fan on the show.
Arsenal,
If Cash is on this show, I'm
Liverpool,
out. By the way,
Cash.
Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Barca, Madrid, Al Nassr, anyone,
Are we going to have
once a
Al
month,
Nassr
15 minutes,
fan on?
Something like that, it would be cool. Anyways,
I also keep sending videos to Cart about ideas of other people's podcasts that we can steal for like graphics and stuff, and I've offered my services, so taking it to the next level.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm up for that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah,
original idea for the show was stolen from another show.
Yeah, good.
PTI.
All ideas are stolen everywhere. So
Yeah.
Good
Milo, hit us with the dad joke.
All right. Thanks, guys, for an entertaining long chat tonight. I'm going to go and take NyQuil and go to bed, but thank you. It was good fun. Here it is. Why was the football pitch wet on a sunny day? Because the players dribbled all over it.
Oh,
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Good chat, everyone. Thank you.
See you guys.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate you.
Cheers, Milo. So bad.
There's no ending scene. We're on the, so you just guys,
And cut.
Everyone.
Cut. Yeah. Excellent. Cheers, everyone.
All right, guys. I'm
Cheers,
out.
guys.
See
you
ya.
soon. Is anyone streaming after this? Mike, are you streaming?
Oh.
I might start streaming. I'm gonna take a little break though, spend some time with the kiddo, and then kick it off.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
if you're on, I might just lurk in there. So.
That sounds good.
Excellent.
See you guys.
All
Cheers,
right.
guys. See you later.
All right. See you guys.
It's the Monday Weekend Wrap Up. 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 Monday Weekend Wrap Up. It's the Monday Weekend Wrap Up. It's the Monday Weekend Wrap Up. It's the Monday Weekend Wrap Up.
Alrighty. Oh, was it feedback? Was it feeding back? I hope not. Testing. Hello. All right, guys, that's the show. Nice show today.